This time on Kawaii-Fi Radio, Valentine's Day is upon us, and that means it's time for our annual questionable episode. You probably wouldn't have watched these as a kid, or if you did, you may have a certain view on the world now.
Yeah.
This year, the topic is a little bit saucy.
This is all BL.
I never would have guessed.
No! Oh my goodness, on the BL episode there's BL?
No. Also, Tifa ends up in a locker?
I'm sorry that I'm small enough to fit into a locker, okay? Don't shove me in there.
You are a wee hobbit. It is wonderful.
It's over 9,000! NANI?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi.
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 Kawaii-Fi Radio!
Konnichiwa and welcome. You tuned into Kawaii-Fi Radio, a podcast we talk about anime and manga. I'm Kyle, and we have the whole team here for the most part.
The council has assembled.
We have Kenny, we have Tifa, we have Aaron, we have Kiralee, and Emma says hello from outside the door because there's not enough mics.
Look, I think we can all agree Valentine's episodes are the best episodes because we get free reign.
Relatively speaking.
The council has spoken, it's free reign Valentine's.
Can't take it back.
So let's get this out the way right now. This is the Valentine's Day episode. This is not safe for work. This is
Not safe for children.
PG-13 this episode. This is much closer to MA15 plus. That doesn't mean there'll be lots of cursing or anything like that, but the content we will be discussing is
Primarily adult content.
A little bit more mature.
yes, a little bit more mature. Kenny's herding cats. There we go. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. Liger decided he wanted to sit next to the door, and then Kenny's like, all right, I'll open the door for you, and then Liger went and sat on Kenny's seat.
I do not respect this cat, but I do love him.
So this episode, we are talking about...
Dicks.
And balls. I so wanted to say dicks.
We're talking about BL. This is the Yaoi episode.
Men kissing men, but that's forbidden love.
It's not just kissing.
There's some special kissing going on.
It's a bit more like
Very
Attack on
special.
Titan. There is men within men. Like,
So you're stealing my joke now.
Large men.
This may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's going to be a good
Attack on
laugh,
Titan
and
is
it will
about
be
men
interesting.
inside big naked men.
Oh, God.
There's oral. Well, it's more like 4.
Please tone it back.
You invited him.
I regret it so much. So, look, if you are new to the podcast, this is a very different episode. Welcome.
Wait,
Oh,
what
gosh.
anatomical terms can we use?
Peen.
Should we use the same ones that they use in like fan fiction where they're like the member?
God.
Chungus.
So, as you can probably tell, this isn't a standard episode, but we do release fortnightly and all that usual stuff. Find us on all your favorite podcasting apps. We're also on YouTube. There is something coming up on the YouTube channel, and it's to do with our 100th episode, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But we're getting very close to that, and the 100th episode is going to tie in very nicely with Hoshicon.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it was going to have something to do with today's subject, and I was questioning.
We go to a BL cafe. That's what's happening.
Oh my
Yay.
goodness, I
Those-
love
Those
that.
are
We could
things.
go to a
Yeah,
Muscles
they are
Cafe.
a thing.
Oh.
A what cafe?
Muscles Cafe.
Yeah, but I don't know if they'd be
On a
too
guy
into the
muscle.
whole guy thing.
Oh, this is true. Yeah.
If
So,
you give
BL
them
Cafe.
enough money, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, fair
Let's just go to
point.
the rocket room.
No. Okay. So, look, before we do get talking about boy on boy, man on man,
CBT.
mano on mano,
Close quarters
let's
combat.
talk about what we've been watching.
I have no idea how old I am or where I came from. Nani? Ohio.
Hang time! I gotta go!
I have to know. Hooray! I did the thing.
Oni-chan, nani wo miru? What we're watching.
Oh dear, this is going to be a wild ride. Last year's one was fantastic as well.
Yeah, I was talking about heckin' with monsters.
I have seen your book collection and it is terrifying.
It is glorious.
All right, so let's start from the manliest anime that we can think of this season, and that is Vinland Saga Season 2. Kenny, you've been watching it. How does it compare to Season 1?
I forgot for a while just how like ponderous and epic that the Vinland Saga kind of story could be. And yeah, I'm right back to it. It's taken a few episodes to really rev up and get to its point, just like the first season. But I am right back in it. It is wonderful. I am so happy.
Would you recommend it for anyone who's sitting there going, I want to watch it, find a new anime?
Oh Christ, yes. Like I said, it's very, very slow burn. As everyone else watching it yet, or no?
I'm still behind. I haven't started the new season because just busy.
I'm still watching the prequel, Vikings.
Good show. Plenty of sex. A lot of sex.
Not so much guy on guy, though, unfortunately. So we can't talk about it this episode. Maybe next episode.
They're perfectly suited for it, though.
But it follows the aftermath of the first season, naturally. But it introduces a new character, a farmer named Einar. And that was of interest to me because, like, last time we talked about this when we first started watching it ages ago, when podcast first started, like, one of the first characters introduced was Leif Erikson, who is a real figure in Viking history. And I'm just like, oh God, that's a real person. I know who this is. And then it would keep introducing more and more people. Introduced Thorkel and Canute and all this. All these people, they existed. And now it's introduced Einar. I'm just like, okay, there is 2 or 3 people I know named Einar in Viking history. Which one are you?
Also, there's the Einar Jarl warriors. So,
yes, there's a lot. There's a lot of research that went into Vinland Saga.
It pleases me. It's not a happy kind of an anime. It is brutal and bloody and sorrowful as hell. But gods, yes, I love this show.
All right. Well, watch that on Crunchyroll. Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll this time around. It was on Amazon last time. It was a whole thing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So Amazon got it when it was being released, and everyone was like, what the heck? And they were like, no, we're not dubbing it. And there were 2 dubs done by different companies. One was Sentai, and now for the current version, the dub is now being done by Crunchyroll, but they've brought some of the people who voiced it in Sentai over.
Actually, there is another point to make about it. It's like one of our favorite animes of all time is Kaguya-sama Love is War. It's our first opening unforgettable in the fact that it just looks like a Bond opening. Ditto Vinland Saga.
What, for the new one?
For the new one, its opening is basically a Bond film opening.
Interesting.
You got to see it.
I'll have to watch it tonight.
the name's Erikson. Leif Erikson.
Bang bang. You have a bow and arrow instead of the gun.
Nice.
Oh, all right. Well, we will definitely have to keep up on that because it's going to be 24 episodes. That's going to run into the next season too. Curly Tomo-chan.
Yeah, so it's just about this girl who's very much a tomboy and likes her childhood sweetheart sort of guy friend, and she's just trying to get out of the friend zone. But I think he likes her, but she doesn't realize either. So it's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sweet to watch.
It
though.
is. It's also so petty.
Yeah.
You guys were telling me about this, like how they'd have an interaction where...
so the guy and the best girlfriend, they have a history and they don't like each other very much. And whenever she does something snarky to him, he's like very petty in his response, like, just pulling a scrunchie out or like, putting her pencil case somewhere she can't reach or stuff like that.
I love that.
It's
though.
so good.
That's the thing. It's like when you were telling me about that, it's like that sounds like the kind of just asinine stuff that we would do to each other as kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that we do with our
exactly.
mates.
Yeah.
There's
Typical
something
Stuff
very...
we still do with
stuff.
Tifa.
I'm sorry that I'm small enough to fit into a locker, okay? Don't shove me in there.
You are a weeb hobbit. It is wonderful.
I didn't realize this was going to become a Lord of the Rings podcast. Actually, now that I've said that.
My coffee is precious.
Yeah, no, Tomo-chan's amazing. Emma's obsessed with it as well, and she's now reading the manga.
Oh, okay.
She's just like, I can't wait. Fair enough. But yeah, also Crunchyroll, so good. I
Just
adore
very
that.
sweet, very
It
easy
is.
watching.
Yeah, and the comedy's really on point.
Oh, yeah.
Like holy hell. Aaron, Grace the Gods season 2, Slime Rancher essentially.
Yeah, it's just soft, gentle, and sweet. It's a guy who gets isekai'd into a world, and he tames a bunch of slimes, and they do a bunch of different things depending on what they're exposed to. And he starts running businesses, and it's nice.
That
it's
does
cute.
sound comfy.
Well, he decides to run a cleaning business because the slimes can clean anything perfectly, no matter how tough the stain is.
Nice.
And so, like, occasionally you'll get people trying to rip off the business by trying to make impossible stains and then being like, no, you didn't get it out, give us our money back. And they pull out the clothing and it's perfectly clean. And ironed.
Progression.
So he's starting to open up new branches and deal with thefts and break-ins and stuff like that. So in one of the early episodes this season, he had to make like bulletproof glass essentially.
Wow.
And he gets one of his employees who's an ex-assassin, and he's like, all right, just try and break it. And she like uses all of her skills, not a dent.
Nice.
And he's just done it by like using his slimes to make this bulletproof glass.
That's kind of cool.
So like it's just nice and chill and
It's James Bond all over again.
what is it?
Bulletproof glass.
Oh man. I don't know if you ever played this, but Red Faction had bulletproof glass. And you could literally blow out the wall all around it, but the bulletproof glass
Just hang there.
I liked that game.
I've still got it.
Oh,
The first two, because Gorilla sucked.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, Grace the Gods season 2, also Crunchyroll. And
They hold the monopoly these days.
well, no.
No.
No, they're starting to lose it.
Yeah.
Really?
very much so.
High Dive's a thing.
Wicked.
Yeah,
And
a lot
I've
of
noticed that
stuff's moved there.
Funimation's getting stuff.
That's
Which is very
Funimation is still
interesting.
them.
Yeah.
So Funimation is still Crunchyroll,
Yes.
but it's. I think the situation
split is
is that
interesting.
in the regions where it's saying Funimation, the switch hasn't occurred for Crunchyroll because Funimation had a larger footprint. Crunchyroll almost, to my knowledge, doesn't exist in the UK, but Funimation was there, and the Funimation brand hasn't changed over yet.
Well, like, because I went to go watch my theme for today's episode on Funimation. And, like, I flicked through it and I was like, hang on, there's new episodes of things on here. And my partner went, yeah, they're still uploading to it. I'm like, didn't they say it was dead like a year ago?
Yeah, they didn't start uploading until this season. It was really weird.
So, do you reckon with everything that's going on with Crunchyroll, they might just be slipping back into Funimation?
I hope not.
I think it could be possible, even though both are under Sony's branch,
Yeah,
basically.
because-
But they could see like more income coming into Funimation because of the other countries that don't really use Crunchyroll or don't have access to it. So they might just start funding both of them. I don't know.
Yeah, and
Well, I mean-
also with Crunchyroll slip-ups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's let's be honest. The Crunchyroll slip-ups has only happened since Sony took over.
Yes, but it's all been on the Crunchyroll brand name.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I mean,
Whereas
look, that's true, but also Funimation had plenty of bad slip-ups in their past as well, so I don't think there's any...
I feel like they still did a lot better than Crunchyroll.
I think they're
I'll
going to
say
lose
yes.
it to Netflix and Disney.
Oh,
I agree.
yeah. Well, I mean, those two are tyrants in their respective
Well,
categories.
yeah, and like because Disney has that really big
relationship,
with Japan and stuff like that with one of their publishers.
Kodansha?
Kodansha. So they'll get a lot of that stuff. But I was really intrigued by the fact that in Japan their Netflix just has everything.
Yeah.
Right, so it's all on there, so maybe Netflix will try and push the monopoly over into Western countries in the future as well,
I think there's
because...
quite a lot already on
Yeah,
on
there is
Netflix.
quite a lot.
There's-
Like, you got all of
I was
Fairy
going
Tail, you
through
got,
it
like, some One
yesterday, and I was
Piece,
like, wow, they
Blue
have this now? I
Period.
thought this was on Crunchyroll,
Yeah.
and now it's over at Netflix.
Well,
Oh,
I
you
think
mean
it's
our Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot.
Because
But
I
it-
remember you sent the screenshot from Japanese Netflix.
I was like, Blue Lock is on Netflix, and then I was
Yeah.
like, oh wait,
I'm on the
oops.
VPN.
I'm
Whoops.
sorry.
This episode's sponsored by NordVPN.
I was very, very confused, okay?
No. See, I think the thing as well is that I think the issue for Netflix is the translation, and also they just don't do good with weekly releases. So I think what we tend to see is those series appear on Netflix once
Yeah.
they've been fully released and fully already subbed, and then they just purchase the right for the entire package.
I do think it's interesting because on Netflix Japan, most of theirs are just weekly.
Yeah.
They're just weekly releases.
Oh, like, so they have no problem.
They have no problem. They're all just weekly releases, but their weekly releases on Japanese Netflix do not have English subtitles.
No, of course, yeah.
But the ones that are completed all have English subtitles.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's completely go back onto what we were doing. Tangent there. What we're watching: Campfire Cooking in Another World.
Yay.
With my slime
I like this
and
show.
my big doggo, and giving tributes to the goddesses.
Nice.
Yeah. Look. Campfire Cooking in Another World is fantastic, and I've been reading the manga for quite a few years, and I can highly recommend it. Basically, a guy gets isekai'd, and he's an isekai'd.
Is his name Kyle?
No.
Again.
It's a good joke.
It was. So he gets isekai'd,
He gets his
and
cigar.
he is like an accidental addition, and everyone else
Well,
is like,
you say that, but I mean...
oh no, his ability's broken, but they don't understand it.
Exactly.
So that there's three people who are the heroes, and then he's like, I don't know why you're doing this. I can't help you with. I don't know what this ability is, but you guys seem dodgy as, so I'm just gonna say like, and they literally pay him with some hush money, and then he goes out and decides I'm leaving this country because this country seems hella dodge.
His
And he's
singular
right.
superpower, because everyone that gets summoned has a superpower. His is that he can summon a screen which gives
Online
him
grocery.
access to Japanese supermarket products.
And the thing is that they don't have a concept of a grocery, and of course they don't have the concept of online. So they don't know what that is. They're just like, that's weird. Okay, your ability's useless. And he's like, yes.
And so he just simply leaves and goes camping and buys food with money that he makes from this world and just cooks it in the wilderness.
He almost breaks the economy in like the first episode because he's like, I bought a box, a container of rock salt and pepper, and then sold them. And he's like,
Which
they
is
cost-
ingenious.
they were like 1 silver coin for the lot, and he made like 20 gold. And he's like, I better not do this very often. I'll break the economy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like he can insert money that he makes from this world into this machine and pay like real world rates for items like, little cakes or a little jar of pepper, which will sell for 20 gold in that world because pepper sells at the rate of gold to kings and lords.
But yeah, no, it's so much fun. But he ends up taming. Well, he forms a contract with a Fenry, a giant beast, wind beast, doggy, wolf, and he basically ends up taming him because he's a glutton and wants all the food, and it's good.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the adventures continue from there as they leave that country, go into neighboring countries, learn more about the world, and go get more fun stuff. It's good. Highly recommend it.
And he just
Crunchyroll.
he sends Fenry out to like hunt monsters and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
which he can bring to adventure guilds for them to like sell
Process.
all the components and give him the meat back and stuff. And he
Nice.
just keeps making a killing.
It's good. But yeah, Crunchyroll for that one. Tifa,
Yes.
you've been reading a thing.
Apparently. I can read.
Oh my god! I have eyes. Hell's Paradise.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So Hell's Paradise. This is what you're referring to as like the dark trio of shonen manga.
Yeah, so recently in Shonen, we've all heard of the big three, and nothing's going to replace the big three, but there has been kind of a shift in the manga that Shonen produces, and one of those is, I guess, the Dark Trio, which is Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and Hell's Paradise. I read both Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen, so I thought might as well read Hell's Paradise, see how it compares, I guess, and it's the only one that's finished. It's a completed series as well, so yeah.
It's good.
It's very good.
What's the general plot?
So it's about ninjas. Which already I was kind of intrigued because obviously Naruto is a very big ninja series, and I wanted to know if this was just going to be like a dark version of Naruto where they get like really...
Damn it, Tifa turned into log.
Yeah, where they get like really brutal and things like that, but it is quite interesting. I think it's a little more traditional in the way that they discuss ninjas. So the main character's name is Gabimaru, and he comes from the Hidden Stone Village.
This sounds a lot like Naruto.
Yes. And he obviously is a ninja. He's
What
a shinobi.
is his Marvel superpower jutsu? Does he grow to the size of Colossus?
Well, firstly, he's quite short. Secondly, we don't really, from where I'm at the moment, he doesn't really have like a power. Like obviously he has ninjutsu their ninjutsu is kind of like just an amplification of things that they already do in a sense. But the way that he kills people is very brutal, like ripping them with his teeth, like attacking them like violently. He's like, it doesn't matter how I get it done as long as I get it done. And he's considered to be one of the best ninjas in his village. He's almost like kind of like legendary, and he's called Gabimaru the Empty or Gabimaru the Hollow. So basically all those that come from that particular village are trained to be empty vessels for that village, and they cannot have any feelings or anything like that. And when we meet Gabimaru, he's supposed to be executed at a different village, so he's supposed to die. And he says that he doesn't care if he dies. He's happy to die, but they're just unable to kill him. And they're like, stop using your ninjutsu. And he's like, I'm literally not. Because they're just trained so heavily that their body just like, because kind of like in Naruto, chakra flows through you, right? So instinctually, your body just kind of fights back in a way. And they try, it's really funny. It's like the first chapter, they try so many different ways to execute him. So they like try to burn him, they try to cut his head off, they try to like, pull him apart.
So
it's great.
What happens? Does he just heal instantly? Or?
No, the attacks don't follow through. So like
He turns into a log.
Yeah. The blade
Morty, I turned myself into a
fails.
log.
The fire just burns his clothes, but it doesn't burn his body and stuff like that. So instead they have brought in this woman. Her name is Sagiri, and she's supposed to be kind of special in a way. I'm just not going to really explain her too much, but she's supposed to be the one that executes him. And instead she takes him to this area where they've started to bring in, I guess, anyone that they don't mind dying, because they're going to send them to what they call Hell's Paradise, which is an island where they think they're going to find the elixir of life. But everyone that comes back dead in body pieces with like flowers coming out of their body and things like that. And it's kind of mummified and horrific and things like that. And it's quite interesting. And I actually find this main character, Gabimaru, to be kind of the more likable out of the three main characters of the Dark Trio.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's quite lovely because there is a reason why his body and his instincts to stay alive are there, and he actually has a wife. And he does love her, but he kind of like tries not to admit that. And it's quite interesting.
That sounds
though.
really
And
good.
the art style is so beautiful in the manga, and it's like uncensored basically. So
You're going to see all the gore, the violence.
You get all the gore, but you also get the titties. I'm just saying, and it's like it happens so instantly, and it like everything, you see everything all at once, and it's like in a way that isn't sexualized either. So it's like it's quite interesting and
Sounds quite like a lot of the more violent animes you'd see in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar style as well, but it's done today, right? And yeah, amongst him and the other I guess convicts that are being sent to this island are a few other kind of well-known people that are also quite brutal, and the ways they kill people is quite interesting. I think it is still a dark manga, but I don't think it's dark in the way that Chainsaw Man is and the way Jujutsu Kaisen is.
Yeah.
And you said this manga is finished as well, and
It's
might
completed.
be getting
It's
an
completed.
anime.
Yeah. So the anime comes out this year. The anime trailer, I think, doesn't do justice visually to what the manga is, but you just look at the first chapter of Hell's Paradise. It's just beautiful. The way it's just the way that they draw everything is so dark and beautiful. It's creepy, but just lovely. I don't know.
Sounds awesome.
As a Dark Souls player, I understand it.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I'm going to have to read it.
Yeah. No, it's
do
good.
it.
It's a short read. I think it's only 160 chapters.
Well, that's a lot easier than One Piece.
Yes.
I'm at chapter 800.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it's
How long has that taken you now?
it's only been a few months, 6 months, and that's been just off and on. I don't read it every night or anything. It's just when I feel like reading manga, I sit down and read One Piece, and yeah, it's good. It's been quite good actually. I've been pleasantly surprised. Okay, so that's what we've been watching and reading and thinking on,
Absorbing.
absorbing, big brain energy, digesting. Oh yes. Mulling over.
Masticating?
No.
That means chewing.
Too far.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That Catalogue.
Look at this adorable fluffy pancake.
I don't think they can.
It's audio only. Describe the cat.
So, going back to Sting there, you probably wouldn't have watched these as a kid, or if you did, you may have a certain view on the world now. But we are talking about Tifa's dark past. No.
Her origin story at last.
So, we're talking BL, Boy Love, Yaoi,
Bacon and lettuce.
Man and man.
Mano e Mano.
Man and bacon and lettuce and cheese.
Some sword fighting.
Don't cross the streams. Now, before we get into this, once again, just as a precursor, this is a very mature episode.
This is where it
Just
gets
content,
spicy.
and this is where it's going to get spicy. So if you are...
Ask your parents
Young.
if you're allowed to listen to people talking about peens.
Yeah.
I'm like,
If you
don't
have to
say
ask-
that.
Say that to them. I command it of thee.
If you have to ask your parents, you shouldn't be listening to this.
Yeah,
basically. There you go.
Oh, just give them a call and ask them anyway.
You know what? Yeah, give your parents a call.
Hey, Mom, how you doing? Yes, the retirement village is lovely. Do you mind if I listen to a podcast about peens? What?
Aaron, no.
So, look, Tifa, I'm going to let you lead on this one because you've read a lot. Wow. So, Kiralee, you're also going to be helping with this.
No. It's just the boys who are exposed here.
But you specifically mentioned that BL and Yaoi has a lot of controversy around it, so I figured I'd let you expand on that and obviously the concerns and then obviously how that's changed over time.
Yeah, so I guess BL and Yaoi, whichever you prefer to call it, has been quite controversial over the years, and I think a lot of people still think it's controversial, even though we do have a lot of BL anime and manga such as like Given or Banana Fish or Sasaki to Miyano that are mainstream and definitely aren't that controversial, but a lot of controversy, I guess, stems from maybe like the 80s and the 90s when it first started becoming a really big thing where a lot of the genres that were discussed in BL were a lot of like, I guess, inappropriate age gaps or non-consensual items, things like that were kind of very heavily incorporated into these stories. And I do believe like back then it was kind of taboo for them to kind of talk about anything to do with their sexuality that was other than straight.
Yeah.
And then to kind of push on the fetishization.
Yeah.
I can speak. Of like that genre, they tried to kind of push a lot of those things in it as well. But as this like gay sexuality has become further accepted, I feel like it's changed a lot as well. So they've told a lot more stories that are kind of more relevant to a lot of different types of people as well. But that is like a huge controversy surrounding BL that is still kind of a stigma on it today, I think, as well, because a lot of people, when you think about BL, you think about kind of the censored stuff, firstly, and then secondly, you think about the controversies that have previously been brought up, and I think age gaps, like very, very terrible age gaps, are definitely like number one on that list, because it is just an association that people, especially homophobic people, have with those that are gay as well. So it's
it causes some problems.
I think you think about some of the Western fans as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school who was like full on into it. Like it was very off-putting.
Yeah.
And then like now that I'm older and like, you know, getting into it, actually getting into it and enjoying it, but it like put me off diving into it because of that friend.
No, I agree. Like it was a
fan
huge
bases can ruin.
Yeah, it was like a huge
thing.
fetish to women specifically, especially in Western society. Whereas now I feel like a lot of people that are fans of BL just like the stories because they get told different stories compared to, I guess, some of the mainstream animes and manga that are more like harem orientated or orientated around like that kind of like not really a relationship, so to say, but yeah, it's just not exactly the type of storyline that I guess women or people of different sexual orientations kind of want to read as well. So
touching on a couple of things you said though, it's like also this was back in like the 90s, 2000s, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Watching a lot of TV and movies back then, I can say for certain people did not know how to write like homosexual relationships and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples is a remake of an old horror film called The Haunting, where they wrote Catherine Zeta-Jones to be bi.
Yeah.
And she was just the least realistic character ever written. And this was in a movie with Owen Wilson as well.
Oh my god.
Wow.
It's just, I think that was a symptom of the time, is that it was only just starting to become more open and accepted, and people were trying to market to that, I guess.
Yeah, because it's like even if you take, say, Banana Fish, for example, which is like a very well-known BL, which was written in the 80s, it was not published in English back then because it was considered taboo. And it doesn't even go that in-depth into it. It's just, well, I mean, there are some parts that you can definitely tell it's like a 90s, 80s type of thing because there is some taboo aspects, but it's not to do with like the main relationship. So it's not trying to portray that in a positive light in comparison to other BLs. And I think as well, like speaking of like BL fans back then or like in the 2000s and stuff like that, you'd find that a lot of sports animes would also have these fans that would just overtly kind of have these fan fictions or things about certain characters which weren't in the actual story, but they were so persistent with this point of view that these almost became actual BLs to most
like
people.
Black Butler.
Oh, yeah, of
Black
course.
Butler was a really big one,
And I want to say that you could definitely say the same thing about the Yuri fan base as well.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
I
But
think you just say
there's
the same
little
thing about
less-
any shipping fan base.
I think there's
Basically.
just like less Yuri content than there is Yaoi content. So
wow.
that's
Wait, really?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
by
very
a
much
long
so.
shot.
Wow. I'd love to see the math for that.
Yeah, no, it checks out. It's like
I think like the yaoi content is like double at
Yeah.
least.
Well, are we including fan fiction on that?
No.
No, we're
Because-
just talking official, but if you go to fan
Yeah.
fiction, holy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like so much of the fan fiction for yaoi stuff became prolific in the community.
Yes, definitely.
Like it became a huge part of it, and like
Yeah. Like I think
fan
haiku
fiction
is one of the
community is
like
terrifying.
big ones as well. Like
Yeah.
anything that was a sports anime was a big one.
anything
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
they
But,
took
like,
it and ran.
I think especially like in Japan as well, if it was a sports anime, specifically haiku, but at least with haiku it was like the older characters, not the younger ones, which was good. They sold that in stores. Like you could get the doujinshis of like these characters in stores.
Wow.
And it wasn't official work or anything like that. And those people that did those are now authors for other stories. Like so it was a really big thing.
But I mean, that is kind of like the way most mangaka progress. Like
The gateway.
The gateway.
Yeah,
Like they create their doujinshi or their original stories, which they sell at Comic Hit and so forth, and then they show their numbers, share that with publisher, and go on from there. And I mean, like the guy who created Don't Toy Me Nagatoro originally did
Yes, yeah.
adult content before that,
Yeah.
and because they saw the style and artwork and liked it, they then offered him a contract and said, "We need you to make something that is, not R-rated or higher. We need you to make something that we could send to a PG audience," and that's how Nagatoro was born. So it's interesting to see that transition, and I think, as you were saying, now that tons of these publishers actually have their own label specifically for BL now.
Yeah.
That there is actually a gateway for those who create that content to then continue creating that content in their career because they're passionate about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's in a positive light a great way to see
Yeah.
it change. So let's start actually talking about some of these series, and we're going to start with one that kind of took the world by storm and is very popular, and that's Given.
Yeah.
Now, Given is BL.
Yes.
This is all BL.
I never would have guessed.
Oh my goodness, on the BL episode there's BL?
Given focuses on a group of boys who are in a band. And
Nice.
Well, specifically the relationship between two of them, but there's also B plots featuring the others.
yeah. Has anyone seen the film yet?
No, actually no.
I keep meaning to watch it because that focuses on the other two members of the band.
Yeah.
But Given, it's very cute.
It was the first proper BL that I properly sat through and watched because it was on our whole series look.
Yeah.
It was for the podcast.
I was really impressed by it. So Given was 2019. It was animated by Lerche. And that the manga's still ongoing. So it was 2013 and till
button?
now. What are we, 2023? It's been 10 years of Given.
Yeah.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Where's the button?
Don't push the button.
I do have a button for
Push
it.
the cursed slow version.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Congratulations.
It keeps going too.
Oh, really?
Oh my god.
Congratulations.
I was hoping the penguin would talk.
That was Pen
That's
Pen.
Pen at the end.
Have you not seen Neon Genesis?
Wait,
No,
so
actually,
does the
I
penguin
Oh, wow,
just
okay.
understand everything that's going on?
Look, the
before my
end
time.
scene's very weird. Of Neon Genesis.
But like through the whole series, has the penguin always understood what's going on and the
Yes.
horrifying implications of the end of the world?
Pen seems to. Well, they say they're warm water penguins or something like that, and it's like that he does seem a lot more cognitively aware. I mean, he can open doors. He's seen reading a newspaper. So yeah, like there's a lot going on there that I can't explain.
I have many questions, but none of them are BL related.
Does he have a husband?
On the note of BL and Neon Genesis, Shinji and Kaoru. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Still related.
Still related. Okay.
That's also a different theme in BL.
So, Given, I believe that's on Crunchyroll at the moment.
Yes.
But the series focuses, and I will bring up the synopsis. So, there is a tune stuck in Mafuyu Soto's head. As he clutches the guitar in his hands, this melody swirls around and around, screaming words of regret, longing, and loss. But his careless expression that always seems to be up in the clouds, no one knows his true feelings. However, a chance encounter with classmate Rutsuka Uniyama may finally give Mafuyu the push to let his voice be heard. So he joins a band. He's a vocalist, and he has a guitar which is has a history. Without spoiling anything, it's got a history. It is a love history, and they have a. It's a beautiful story.
Is the guitar secretly another boy that has been transformed by a witch? And only by playing the correct notes in order will it finally be free of its curse.
Reincarnated into another world as a guitar in a boy love series. Help! Is it wrong to be a boy love guitar
In a dungeon.
That has different contexts.
It really does, actually. So, look, this is a series which is very high on emotion. It's a lot of fun. It's very
Episode
emotive.
9.
Episode 9, the show is probably the entire internet melted down on when that episode aired.
So cathartic. I loved
was
it.
really well done. But yeah, highly can recommend watching Given or reading it. I do recommend watching it just because the music
Yeah, the
elements of it
music.
You all watched
so powerful.
You know,
No, not my jam.
I haven't seen it.
I don't like.
You don't like
Music
soft
anime.
stuff.
No, I do.
Well, it's
I
I
just
would
I
have.
think it's a little less about the music and
Well,
more
yeah,
about
but
the
I mean, like,
relationship, but
band
Yeah.
stuff. You know,
But what
I
about,
don't
like,
know.
Bad
Is that
experiences with
band in
bands?
your house?
Huh?
Is that band in your house?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about
There it
like
is.
Given as well as the author, like we were saying before, that some authors started out doing doujinshis before they became official authors, and the mangaka for Given was one of those people that did doujinshis of haiku.
Ah.
That's a given. I've been waiting. I haven't seen on that one.
All right. Let's head back to the 1980s because we're going to talk about Banana Fish. And this was in 2018. The anime aired.
Yeah.
It was. And this was kind of like, I think, a big moment in BL because it was animated by Mappa.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was very, very well done too. It was
Yeah,
just-
and this was a series that tackles a lot of difficult things.
yeah.
It
Like
is
Titans?
the height of melodrama, I gotta
Oh,
say.
yeah. Oh, it is. But like, it's also like
It's
dark.
very 80s kind of written as well, yeah.
So, Banana Fish focuses on Ash Lynx, a runaway who was picked off the streets of New York and raised by the infamous godfather of the mafia, Dino Golzino. Now at 17 years old and the boss of his own gang, Ash begins investigating the mysterious Banana Fish. The same two words his older brother Griffin has muttered since his return from the Iraq War. However, his inquiries are hindered when Dino sends his men after Ash at an underground bar he uses as a hideout. At the bar, Skip, Ash's friend, introduces him to Shinichi Ibe and his assistant Eiji Okamura, who are Japanese photographers reporting on American street gangs. However, their conversation is interrupted when Shorter Wong, one of Ash's allies, calls to warn him about Dino. Soon, the men storm the bar and in the ensuing chaos kidnap Skip and Eiji, and now Ash must find a way to rescue them and continue his investigation into Banana Fish. It is mafia, it is BL, it is action, it is drama, it is
It's a little bit of comedy.
beautiful. Yeah, it's got a bit of comedy in there too, yeah.
I mean, like Ash is very scared of pumpkins, so that's kind
Yeah,
of a
that was
funny
a whole
moment.
weird thing. Yeah. So Ash and Eiji end up being quite close. And
Quite close.
look, you know what I mean.
They were roommates.
Yeah. My cousin's bringing his roommate with him to dinner for Christmas. Yes, roommate.
They've been to the Nationals
Business
together.
partner.
Business partner, yes. Live together. One room apartment. Very tight, but very good. I don't know why I'm using that accent. That was very weird.
I'm not gonna say
This
it.
this is now Russian Yaoi podcast. We talk about the gay
Nico, it's
cartoon
me, your
boys.
cousin Roma.
Is that because of Mafia?
Yeah,
Maybe
thank
that's
you.
the
That is
trigger.
exactly why that happened.
I'm
And
gonna
I
make him
recently was playing GTA, so
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
and that offer would be BL. So,
You will read this manga in entirety.
so Banana Fish actually came out in
I've
the
made a strange fan
first
fiction.
year of this podcast. Holy hell!
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that. And we were hooked. So on my anime list, this is on an
Like
8
a
point-
fish?
Yes,
Like a banana. Yes, Aaron. Yes, puns.
So this is on an 8.49 on my anime list right now.
That's pretty high,
Diggity
actually.
dang.
I'm
for
surprised.
a BL series. That's huge.
I
Like,
think a lot of people don't actually consider it to be a BL series, but it is
It
a
is.
BL series, and that is confirmed by the author as well.
yeah, and I think as
It's
well
confirmed by the characters at
I
all.
mean, yes,
Well,
and
I
the
think-
manga is more in depth than the anime.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think the anime adaptation did purposely leave some of that out, just like we saw with Yuri on Ice, where it doesn't delve as deeply into the that stuff because of the concern of
Yeah.
audience not being interested.
Okay, but the subtext of it is so thick it threatens to leap out of the screen.
The subtext
I think that's
threatens
kind
to
of
do
good,
a lot more
though.
than that.
Yeah.
But look, I greatly enjoyed Banana Fish, and
It was
It's devastating.
melodrama and
It
just
is.
very, very actiony. You had no idea where it was going to go next. Very unpredictable.
especially like you got to the halfway point and you went, aren't we done? Whoa, we are so not done.
Then you get to the end, and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, look, this is a series that will leave a mark on
Yeah.
you. And that's not just because it's, all sexy.
I don't think it's really that sexy.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, what kind
I
of
mean,
mark?
Ash. Whew.
Is it like slapping you around the face kind of mark, or
No, it's like I will stab you in the gut kind of mark.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
it's a real gut punch at the end. Yeah. But it's, you can kind of see some of the signs coming for it. Like you're like, okay, I can kind of see this
Yeah.
is this
You
is a
turn ahead.
tragedy. Yeah. Not so much a U-turn, just like a wall in the way that they're going to hit it, and it's just a question of how fast or how slow. So yeah. But yeah, Banana Fish, fantastic, highly worth watching. I can't remember. Did this end up being on Crunchyroll or was it a High Dive dub?
It was Amazon.
It was Amazon.
It's still on Amazon. It's not on Crunchyroll or anywhere else. You can only get it on Amazon. And it is very, very hard to find the manga in English.
Yeah.
Like, it is... Like, a lot of people ask for it. A lot of people have been asking for it since the anime release in 2018.
Should have had a reprint, really.
And they said they were going to do an English reprint, but then COVID happened. So we have no idea what's like happening anymore, because they were going to do like a special anniversary edition, and then didn't really happen for English audiences. So
Turns out that the manga ran in Viz's now defunct manga magazines Pulp and America Extra for several years. So that, I think, might have been it. So it's probably a case that Viz Media might have a digital version of it.
really?
But I don't... Oh. So the first 7 volumes were released under Viz's graphic novel imprint, and then it was later released under the Viz Shoujo label.
Yeah, mine all say shoujo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it does say demographic shoujo, which is...
Wait, so
women.
this is a defunct magazine about like Japanese style pulp?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
also it covers like Pulp Fiction?
That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Say what again? All right, let's jump on to something a lot more recent. This aired in 2022, and Kiralee, I believe you watched this through and recommended it. Sasaki and Miyano.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah. I really loved it. I really loved it. So Sasaki asks Miyano, who is in like class together, for recommendations for BL. And so Sasaki gives him recommendations, and they like do secret exchanges of like sexy books.
So how do they first kind of figure out that each other are into that sort of thing?
Well, so Miyake's just sort of within himself, just reading like the manga and stuff like that, and like trying to hide it and be like very masculine, even though he's a bit whoop.
He's
There
the
was
tall
a
one.
hand flip there.
Huh?
He's the tall
No,
one.
he's the short
He's
one.
the short one.
Yeah,
Ooh.
of course.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Always.
He's the
height
bottom one in this
difference.
picture.
Yeah.
Yep, just the
but
picture.
he refuses. He's like, no, I am man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
but
power
yeah,
bottom.
Sasaki just decides that, just sort of sees him from afar and is like, yes, I like. And so he goes up and asks for recommendations, and then that's how they start the relationship. And then they like go out to like look for more, and Sasaki's very much like, I suppose, loud and proud about, yeah, I can read this and be a man and it's totally fine. And then Miyake's like, no, shush, be quiet, hush, we don't talk about this, like, be quiet. But then, yeah, it's just sort of them getting together and being comfortable. And yeah, it's just sweet.
Aw. So this
That's
started,
a nice message, actually.
Yeah. This started as a manga in 2016. It is ongoing. Studio Deen did the anime adaptation in 2022 for 12 episodes. Obviously, it doesn't completely adapt the whole manga because there's so many chapters. But where it ends, does it feel like they could do another season of it?
I don't think that they will.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Feels
No.
very much like a one and done sort of thing.
Yeah. I don't think there's
That's not
really
always a
much.
bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's much need to go. They they went on dates,
Yeah.
and that's sort of enough. Like for me, that was enough.
Yeah.
And like Sasaki has like a friend who has a girlfriend who's into BL as well, and gets Sasaki to ask him for recommendations as well. And the friend's like, oh, that's a bit gay, but like I'm not really into that. And like my girlfriend's into that, and that's like, oh, it's a bit weird, isn't it? And Sasaki's like, no, it's like totally normal, like it's actually pretty good. And so it's just
So
it's
definitely
fun.
that guy's going to get into it as well.
Yeah.
You can see it happening. If you haven't caught it, you can find it on Crunchyroll. I believe he's on Crunchyroll, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe so.
Does look at My Anime List has the episodes listed there. So if you're a premium My Anime List member, you can also watch it on there. Provided by Crunchyroll. So, because they just embed it. But the series got really popular. This is on an 8.24 on My Anime List, and as we've mentioned, this is a lot more focused on it's a lot more obviously yaoi like centric. It's more BL centric, and it's rated that highly. It's not obviously as many people have voted for it, but still to be in the 8s is pretty impressive.
I think
for
it's
a BL.
quite wholesome as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Okay, boys love is a genre now. It's not.
It's always been a
it's not a
genre.
theme.
Yeah.
It's a genre.
Yeah, it's a genre.
Yeah. So boys love and slice of life. So it just kind of tells you nothing.
It's
bad's
a
really
genre on High Dive and I think Funimation. You can select BL as a genre.
Ooh, that's good to know. Right, Aaron.
Yes.
What the heck is gravitation?
What the heck is
Oh,
gravitation?
no.
It's gravitation.
Okay, so gravitation's the thing that pulls us all together. That's actually a quote from it.
Is it anime?
Yes.
Anime is gravity. Tell Einstein he was wrong.
So basically, it follows the story of is his name
Shuichi?
Shuichi, yeah. And he's this. Okay, am I allowed to say twink in this?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's too late. You already have. Go to it.
He is like the twinkiest twink. Like you think of the like naughties anime and like the whiny little twinks that you used to go.
Yeah.
Like the role model for them. I swear to God.
It's like we'll use these words, but I don't think anyone means them in a derogatory fashion.
No, absolutely
no
not.
one here
No,
is
no.
like that.
In fact, I'm pan, so I go for the twinks if anything.
Interesting.
So he's part of a band called Bad Luck, and he sucks at writing songs. He promises great, amazing songs, sucks at writing them, which is how he had his first encounter with Yuki, who is his top.
Yep.
And so like Yuki's coming home from writing a song, and like the wind blows his song away, and big tall blonde handsome man catches it off the breeze, and he reads it and he goes, "Did you write this?" Shuichi goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's trash. An elementary school kid could write better." Throws it away, and then Shuichi's just there like, "What?" loses his poop.
Yes.
Realizes he's in love with this big, tall, handsome man. And wants to get his approval. And so the rest of the series is about him trying to get approval from this cold, emotionally distant person, which was a very big trope in the problematic
it definitely
days.
was.
Because it was
It's
like
still a big trope now, but I feel like it's a little less
problematic.
Yeah.
Because they actually work on communicating.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, they did not communicate. And so it causes Shuichi's like performing abilities to go down, and then just when he's feeling better, he'll see Yuki in the audience and he'll have a full meltdown again. And
Oh, so it's not really positive, yeah.
there's a, I mean, look, there's an OVA which is 2 OVAs, or there's the anime series which is 13 episodes. The OVA is just the 13 episodes crammed in real tight, so you miss a lot.
All the context is gone.
Yes, but you just get the story just straight up. But if you've got the time, like the 13 episodes, it's good because you get like you get the music stuff, you get the songs, including Spicy Marmalade.
Spicy marmalade.
I kid you not.
What is spicy marmalade code for?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Okay, say no more.
Yeah.
No, really, say no more.
Right.
But yeah,
So I said say no more.
I would like to announce that this is an anime which has a score of 6.9.
yeah, it's trash. It's straight.
No,
trash.
Aaron.
It's nice. Yeah, you missed that.
Oh,
point.
Did you enjoy it?
6.9, right.
Look, it's nostalgic for me, but
Because of the art style?
is very
the art style, yes, and because I saw it when I was a lot younger.
Because this was
The
2000.
tropes are
the
very
anime.
like kind of nostalgic in a weird way.
Yeah, it's
They-
like
they
going
all
to a
have
con in the
powerful-
2000s where everybody had
yeah.
like the seme and the uke paddles.
Yes,
And,
yes,
like, it was all girls cosplaying as guys
Yeah.
and making out with each other and beating each other with the paddles
Wow.
and
that's-
then assaulting other people with the paddles
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was just
And getting those paddles
fun.
banned thereof.
Yeah,
I'm glad I missed all that.
Me too.
it was a nightmare.
A ride.
See, I never went
Sure
to
was.
conventions until I was over 18.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
same.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
Conventions were an interesting time.
You should just watch the videos from that time period, like the YouTube
Oh,
videos.
it's a trip.
I have seen. It's horrifying.
Because they're horribly edited, and it's always like a terrible song from the time, like
What year would
Smile.dk
you-
Butterfly. Like I love that song, but oh my
It's
goodness,
very of its
See, I think,
time.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think the first convention I went to was Manifest over in Melbourne, and that was 2006, I think.
Oh, wow.
oh yeah, I always forget you're much older.
Yeah.
It's
Old.
it's off topic, but there's this YouTuber I follow called Brother Alphabusa. He does these awesome fictional series. One of his recent ones follows us a bunch of vampire hunters. But one of the side episodes is one of the characters sort of going out with his mates, and this is set in 2006, and one of them is like one of those dyed-haired, like anime-obsessed, talks a bit of Japanese weeb girls. And listening to her talk is just like, oh my god, I'm way back in time again. I
Yeah.
got to show it to you guys later. It'll transport you.
Yeah, no, I remember because this was around the time Gurren Lagann had come out.
Yes, exactly.
And it was huge. It was great. I really enjoyed that. It was the first convention experience. It was really good fun. But it was before we had a lot of access to stuff, so everyone there was talking
Yeah.
about where they were pirating everything.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, have you
Yeah.
tried this site? It's like, wow, because we didn't have streaming services.
This is true,
And
yeah.
we were so open about it as well.
People were selling bloody burnt
Bootlegs.
like,
Yeah,
bootlegs. Like it was hilarious. Wild West back then.
I kind of miss
And
it.
then like you put
It's
it
coming
in
back.
and it'd start playing, and it'd be like, if you paid for this, you were ripped off.
Yeah.
This is a free service.
Yeah, actually, I got a I thought I was buying a genuine copy of
Trigon?
Gantz,
Yes.
and it was a bootleg copy, and it had been censored by the country it was made in. So, like, whenever there was blood, whenever there was any skin shown, so that it made no sense. Like,
Well, yeah, because
wow.
Gantz is just
yeah,
that.
exactly. So I took it back and I got a refund. It was like,
Oh,
no,
nice.
you can't actually sell this. I said, you can't sell this because it actually makes no sense with the edits
Yeah.
you have made. And it's like, oh, I'm like, yeah, like it is violent the whole way through. Half the show was missing. Because, like, you can't have any of the big conclusions. You can't have any of the fight scenes. You can't have the romances. You can't have the character interactions. It's like, so what do you got? People sitting in a room.
Fabulous.
In skin-tight leather suits.
Yeah. And then they zoom in and crop things. Like, they did that to The Martian for, like, the Southeast Asian version. Like, when he's stapling himself back together, they zoom in so you can't see the blood or gore or him actually stapling himself. It's like, this is so weird. So, yeah.
I thought I was buying a legit copy of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures,
God.
like the first ones.
Yeah.
And I got it, and it was all in French.
You got the Polnareff version.
The what?
French character.
But yeah, look, anyway, going back. Gravitation, 2000, Studio Deen. Manga ran from 96 to 2002. Where did you end up watching it? Was it on DVD? Funimation. Wow, so not even like Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll didn't have it. Nowhere had it. I went searching.
Yeah.
And then like, I remember I looked on one service and it's like, oh, Funimation has this. And I was like, Funimation's still running? And they're like, oh, you need to be a premium member to watch this. And I was like, oh, come on, man. Like,
I think that's the way with like a lot of BLs is they're just scattered everywhere. Like,
to the winds.
All right. Loveless. This is Tifa's childhood. Which actually makes it sound really bad. It can't have been your childhood. It was 2005. The anime came out. Manga was 2001 till now. Still ongoing.
what do you mean
apparently.
it can't have been my childhood?
You forget how young Tifa is.
You're like 10 years younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm only 24.
Oh man, I'm so old. I always forget. Like, I see Heath and I'm like, Heath looks like he's the age he is. Like,
Are you saying Tifa looks old?
no,
Kyle.
no.
One of those things are older than I actually am.
I'm not allowed to say that about a
Let me
lady.
speak.
No,
Let me
Kyle,
speak.
you are
No,
so incredibly
no, I'm
rude.
not saying that Tifa looks
We are
older
going
than she is.
to continue comedically
No, she is
overtaking.
wise beyond her years. I don't feel like she's like, young and...
My.
Look, my experience with young people since I got over 30 has been bad.
Look, I'm the same. I see anyone under 25 and I'm like, you like Danganronpa, don't you?
I've never seen a single Danganronpa thing
Good.
ever.
It's look, no offense to those who like Danganronpa, but it's just not our cup of tea. Like,
I remember
I don't
watching
even
the
know what
entire
it is.
timeline and being scarred.
yeah, it's a little bit messed up. But I mean, look, this is the thing. Like, we all had different things in our generations. Like, my generation was obsessed with Lucky Star. Like, it was weird.
Isn't
Do you
that
remember
getting a
when
comeback?
every convention had everyone doing the Lucky Star dance or the Haruhi dance?
Yep.
Every convention.
Every single one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'd like Tifa because she's intelligent. So.
Oh, so we've got to be intelligent to be worth your time. Huh? I guess I'd better see myself out.
Can't being elitist and stuff.
No,
We are
okay,
learning a
Aaron.
lot about you today.
Look, no. Look, the only people we have on our podcast are people who can contribute and have a knowledge and can express themselves and explain
That
themselves.
sounds like discrimination to me.
No, that sounds like a job description.
That's my paycheck.
I didn't get paid. I took you all out for dinner though.
Yeah,
That was a good dinner.
I'm not
I
gonna
guess we
not
better
give
shut
you
up
something.
then.
This
If
is
your
where the
boss takes you out to
compensation.
dinner once a year to avoid paying your wages,
The boss doesn't get paid anything.
Aaron, that depends
costs
on
me.
where am I being taken out to dinner by Dean?
Oh yeah.
ooh,
Yeah. Well, if it's a good restaurant, I'm okay with this. I will work for delicious Japanese meat.
given the
How very
theming of this
BL of
episode,
We're learning a lot about everyone today.
Just to
You're
clarify, I
learning a lot
value
about
all of my
yourself.
team members greatly, and that's why I love you. Anyway, on the note of love, Tifa, Loveless.
Reveal your dark backstory, Tifa.
Gosh.
Were you allowed to read this at the age you were at?
So the thing is that
There were pretty pictures.
no, do you remember? Okay, so Adam Sandler, this is like really weird. Adam Sandler did a cartoon film called 8 Crazy Nights.
Oh, yeah.
It was very terrible and very raunchy.
Bad.
I was 8 years old when I watched that.
Wow.
Basically,
For every year.
basically anything that was a cartoon or was like a comic book or a manga, my mum was like, oh yeah, that's child appropriate, right?
The same mother who introduced you to Princess Mononoke
Yes.
was like, yes, these are fine for children.
Yes, I was like a baby the first time I saw Princess Mononoke, and that was bloody.
Yeah.
I can't say
And
I'm much
then
better.
for book week, when I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, I dressed up as San from Princess Mononoke. No one knew
Wicked.
who I was.
Oh my god, that's me.
So, Loveless is a BL series from the 90s and 2000s, correct?
Yeah, I'd say primarily like 2000.
2001 till now.
Yeah.
Apparently it's ongoing, but that's debatable because it's taken...
Yeah, the last volume, which is volume 13, was 2017. So there hasn't been a new one in a very, very long time. And also, just in Perth specifically, I don't think we get any of these volumes
This is
anymore,
true.
really. Like, we don't get any shipments since, like, I don't know, 2015. We haven't really had very many shipments of it.
The
Like,
math checks out.
yeah.
But
So-
this is a Josei series, which suggests that it's target. So you've got shonen and shoujo, which so shonen is young man, shoujo is adult man.
No.
No.
Well,
No.
no.
Shoujo is teen girl.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tingo. What's the other one for the other end of shonen?
Shonen.
Seinen?
Seinen.
Seinen,
Thank you.
yeah.
That's what I was after. So
Yeah.
shonen and seinen.
Yeah.
Shonen for the younger, seinen for the older. Shoujo for the girls and Josei for the older girls. So that kind of tells you about the demographic they're targeting. They're looking for older readers, high school age and above. And that's what this is. I know.
Wow, they've really messed with you.
Look, I don't know why I saw this cover. This is the first manga cover. Here it is here. And I thought, this is appropriate for me. It looks really pretty. I want to read this.
Colourful.
Oh my god, the memories are coming back. Oh, the cat ears.
Just for those who obviously cannot see because you're listening to it, it's got the main character on the cover and a very, very large hand, like under their chin, almost wrapped around their neck.
With a bandage.
Yeah, with a bandage.
So, for context here, in the world of Loveless, each person is born with cat ears and a tail, which disappear only if that person engages in...
The sex.
Man, I'm going to hurt you.
Can we record it and put it on the Patreon?
Because of this, they have to symbolize virginity. They have come to symbolize virginity and innocence.
Oh, so you can say that, but Kenny can't say.
Look, I didn't say exactly what it says here. Additionally, fighting is only done by fighting pairs or couples where one is known as the sacrifice and the other as the fighter. The first receives the damage while the latter attacks. Ritsuka Ayagi is a 12-year-old boy who for some reason suffers from amnesia. His brother got killed recently, as if his life has not been hard enough lately. On his first day at the new school, he gets approached by a stranger called Agatsuma Sobai, who claims to have known his late brother. Ritsuka finds out that Atsuga and his brother used to be a fighting pair, and that Akatsuma has inherited Ritsuga now that his brother is gone.
Wow.
Together they try to find the truth behind his brother's death and the organization known as the Seven Moons, which may be responsible for it. All the while, it seems that the two are becoming closer than they intended to be.
Why does this sound like terrible fan fiction? It doesn't
It
even
does,
sound
doesn't
like a
it?
proper
You just
show.
read that and I was like, oh, memories.
It gets like
remember
worse and
watching
worse
it.
because he
Fan
like
fiction,
doesn't remember
yes.
things, right? And also because he's obviously the one, the main character, the 12-year-old, is obviously the one that gets beat up, right? Which is why he has bandages on like the front cover of the manga and stuff like that. So clearly his memory also kind of gets a little...
Janky.
Yeah, which is not helpful when the other guy is also 20 years old, which goes into the controversies we were previously
Yeah.
talking about.
It's like the brother,
wow.
and it, now it's like, now you're my property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inheriting a person.
And the fact that like the 12-year-old like
He's a
didn't know
12-year-old.
who. Yeah, and like didn't know who this was. This person could have been lying for all he knows
Yeah.
as well. Don't know why he trusted him, but sure.
Wow, you go and you read the manga plot, and it's even more. His mother constantly berates and occasionally beats him, asking what happens to the real Ritsuga, and after he loses his memory, and his defender and only friend is his brother, who was recently killed. My God, Liger.
He heard cat
Yeah,
ears.
no.
cat
Let us
ears.
talking about cats.
Suddenly, Seimei's apparent friend Sobe appears. Sobe tells him that his true name is Loveless, and that Sobe was assigned by him to take care of Ritsuga and protect him. And he soon gets sucked into the bizarre underground society of the fighter unit and sacrifice combo.
I'm not gonna lie, this is like quite a confusing manga, and I think that is because the main character doesn't remember much as well and gets like beat around a lot. There is an anime for it, which I didn't know until pretty recently.
That's what I've watched.
Yeah, but I read the manga and I
Sounds a
remember
bit
it.
messed up.
Yeah,
More so.
yeah.
Kind of goes into that whole controversy how there's a lot of like non-canon stuff in
Yeah.
this sort of genre.
But for the most
kinda
part,
sucks.
because this was like a traditionally published story, I remember anything, I guess, sexual being very like prolific, like very obvious or anything like
Yeah.
that. So it was kind of like insinuated, I guess, rather than being quite obvious and in your face in comparison to a few other BLs. Even like Banana Fish, I think they're things that surround that topic in the manga, I think are quite obvious and very
Yeah.
prominent. Like they actually tell you this happened to Ash and this is the terrible thing that happened because he's, you know,
Yeah.
the type of work that he does within
Yeah.
within the mafia and things like that. In comparison to Loveless, I think they kind of just borderline were like on the edge, but they had so many of those old tropes that you see in BL, like the age gap, the like abuse and things
The
like
emotionally
that.
distant.
Yeah.
and- yeah.
So, Loveless, where can you watch it now?
Watch.
Yeah, because it
I
has
actually
got
think it was on Crunchyroll. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie to you.
We're gonna Google it right now, live on the podcast. It is on YouTube. No,
This is thrilling listening. Everyone's on their phones. Look at
Yeah, I
us
think
millennials.
it's on Crunchyroll.
it is on Crunchyroll. It's going to vary. Yeah, so we
Yeah, it
can
is.
watch it. Oh, actually, can we watch it in Australia? Doesn't. There are no videos for this series in Australia. This page is only for discussion and information purposes.
Yeah, with all the laws that have been passed in Australia to do with anime, which
Yeah.
don't-
And because this is a 12-year-old as well.
Yeah.
I-
There's that too.
it checks
Considering
out.
that we can't read No Game No Life here, I would say that we definitely probably cannot watch Loveless here legally.
I mean, look, you're fair.
I mean, you might have a couple people on the podcast with physical copies of the manga.
Oh, just maybe.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I feel
so
like Loveless is one of those, I don't know, core BL things, like one of those series is that everyone's kind of like
Very
heard of
foundational
or
early
like
on.
you've seen an image of it before or something like that,
You know
even
what
if you
I
haven't
think
read
is the
it.
new one like that?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
no.
Killing Stalking.
I agree, but I think Killing Stalking is far, far worse.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is
Yeah.
horrific, but
But I
yeah,
feel
it's
like
definitely that
everyone-
cultural foundation. That is a very triggering manhwa as well. But it's all in color. It's very well, like,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
very well
It's really-
drawn.
yeah.
I don't know why. I just, like, have an interesting fascination with things that are very terrible. But it's not...
I think it's catering as well because you know how
Some of that is, like,
now
very
these
fetish
days-
as well.
Yeah, these days, you know, women are very much into murderers.
Yeah,
So I think it
like
Yeah.
murder podcasts and
plays
things like
into
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that could have. I think they went a little too far with the whole thing because it could have been like a redemption story,
Yeah.
and that I feel like then it wouldn't have been a cult like following in
Yeah.
BL. It would have just been like a story,
Yeah.
which I think
Yeah.
is quite interesting to think about with Killing Stalking, which is also incredibly popular in Japan, even though it's Korean based.
Yeah.
They create their own fan works of it as well that you see in a lot of stores.
Yeah, I mean that's also the same for like Solo Leveling. Like it was massive in Japan, the manga,
Yeah.
So-
Do you know what I realized the other day? I totally forgot Solo Leveling is a light novel. It was originally a novel, right? And then it was a manhwa.
novel, yeah.
And so because it's originally a novel, it has an audiobook.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, so they have an audiobook for all 5 volumes. And I was like, huh, okay. So I downloaded the audiobooks. It's pretty good. It's the guy that reads it, he's in like The Maze Runner and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and stuff like. He's like an actual actor, and yeah, it's really good.
That was the same when I got the audiobooks for The Expanse. They had like a proper actor reading it. Can't remember his name, but yeah, he was brilliant. It was really good. Okay, we're going to touch on 2 others that we haven't watched but have heard about, and it's because they're kind of a little bit more on the... yeah. And this guy...
Fight Island.
No. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Firstly, there's I'm being harassed by the sexiest man of the year. This came out in 2014, the manga, and it's had a movie and a series.
Wow.
The series was 2018. The movie, I think, was 2021. It's so Takato Seijo has held the title of Sexiest Man of the Year for 5 years running. He's an accomplished actor, 20 years of experience under his belt, and is aware his good looks are well above the average. Proud of his career, he regards the title as an appropriate indication of his success. But when his reign is ended by newbie actor Junta Azuyama, who debuted only 3 years ago, the initial shock gives way to jealous hostility, and even in the new drama that they've been cast in, Junta seems to have suddenly surpassed him, snatching the usual spot of lead actor and continually managing to get on his nerves. Most infuriating of all are the bright smile and kind words that accompany everything Junta does. All this animosity comes to head, however, when Junta catches Takato in a rather vulnerable drunken state. Endangering his own public image, Takato confronts the junior actor with harsh words and angry comments, an opportunity Junior takes every advantage of, with a famous actor now on video picking a fight with a co-star. He's got the perfect means to blackmail him.
Oh my God.
The asking price of the enemy's silence, Takato is shocked to find. His motivation lies far less in advancing career. Instead, Junta's terms are only that they can be realised in the bedroom.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's hilarious. And this is like a flip on the, the younger one being sent. It's the older one who's now being...
I think that's interesting, though.
Taken.
Taken.
Of.
I just had to Google who the sexiest man is. Because last I remembered it was Idris Elba.
Who's it this year?
Idris Elba,
It's
yeah.
a different person each year.
Yeah, but it said he was the sexiest man alive for 2018, and then they've put him on the list for most gorgeous man of the year for 2023.
Most gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that was a
How
thing.
many categories are there?
I don't know.
Most gorgeous.
Oh, here we go.
Most...
Chris Evans is this
Oh, yeah,
people's
that's
sexiest man alive.
Ah, checks. Okay, are we ready? Because we're going to we're going to talk about we're going into the world of manga. We're going into the world of BL manga, which is very
It's
popular.
a very, very big
So
world.
we're going to save the best to last.
Ah.
So the DFI is last. Bad Boys Good Home.
Love it.
Please enlighten us.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. So it's about this this guy who just goes to school, goes about his business, but he goes to this park to meet up with this guy and fight him.
Okay, yeah.
He always gets the poop beaten out of him by this guy he meets up in the park. But then one day he realizes that this guy is actually homeless. And so he's like, you know what? Why don't you come and live with me for a little bit? And so he goes to his house because he lives by himself because he ran away from his family. He still talks with his mum and sister. His mum always comes over and drops off food for him. And now drops off more food because of the person, this other guy. And so they just sort of go about their business. He goes to work, all of that. But he wants to fight this homeless man all the time. They're about the same age, but he gets the flu and the cold, and so they start taking care of each other. And so then you sort of find out that his aggression is actually because he has more
Testosterone?
no, like sexual,
Pent up.
pent up. Yeah, he's very pent up. Frustrations. So he does the punching and physical aggression rather than actually revealing his emotions, and so that gets brought out. So
Well,
he got really, really sick, and so they ended up being in the shower together. And he was like, the homeless guy
They
was
just
like,
ended up at the shower together.
I'll help you wash up because you're hurt and I need to help you. And then he's like, no, and then there was
well.
a bit of
One
a
thing leads to another.
bit of a peen touch, and then the guy's like, no, I'm not gay, and then
Of course you're not.
That's
so
what
it
they all
was
say.
it was the homeless guy who touched his peen. He was like, no, I'm not gay, and then he's like, you sure? you really you sure? And so then they sort of like
$20 is
split apart.
$20.
yeah. So they like split up, and then they don't see each other for a little bit, but they're still living together. And then you come to find out that the homeless guy was in a gang since he was really young because his parents passed away. And that he would have to earn money by servicing men. And so
Kinda like
that's
banana
why
fish.
his instinct was to to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But he actually does care for him a lot. But he's not ashamed to be gay.
Yeah.
And so you find out as well that the reason why he ran away from his parents was because his dad disagrees with him being gay, so he doesn't like to talk about
Family and all that.
Yeah, family and his sexual orientation, and so it's him getting past that and then them growing a relationship together.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
So this was published in English for the first time in 2021. So it was the official. Came out in 2018, but obviously, the way things are is the way things are because of the world and COVID.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have an anime adaptation. Nothing's attached to it at this point, but it's finished. It's 3 volumes, 17 chapters. And yeah, it sounds pretty sweet.
Sounds like an emotional journey.
I've got 1 and 2. I haven't read the final one.
Oh,
so.
you're holding off on that, yeah.
I haven't they haven't released it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not here yet.
Okay. Now we're going to go down a very funny rabbit hole.
Oh.
So, last year for Hoshi's After Dark event, we wanted to provide someone with a BL manga as a prize for winning the cosplay competition, and we wanted a certain renowned manga, which we will touch on next, but it was out of stock because of COVID and shipping delays and printing delays, so we had to find something else. And what we found was Thigh High, the Reiwa Hanamura Academy. Hanamura Academy is just like any other all-girls school, but it has one big difference. The lovely, lively ladies that make up its student body are all handsome hunks. From the cute uniforms to their pastimes, these boys live every day of their youth to the fullest. A hidden paradise of JK Danshi awaits. It is basically what you would expect to be a all-girl, like, slice of life manga, except all the girls are buff boys and still act like they're cute little girls.
Amazing.
Well, not little girls, cutesy high school girls.
I've definitely seen the cover for this.
We did a group reading of this with the Hoshi team because we thought, like, we need to know.
Oh my gosh.
It's hilarious. So all of these things, like all of the tropes you expect to see from female characters in like a pure all-girl cast is done by the guys, like holding their skirts down with their massive bulging thighs in
It's
the
like
way.
that the anime. I can't remember
Magical
the name.
Girl
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Magical Girl Ore. It's that, but just in a
yes,
high
yeah.
school setting. And
Because you were saying there's an all I could
There's
think
like-
was
Same.
Magical
There's
Girl on
bras,
it.
there's bras and everything.
Yeah.
It's like
they're using the bras to hold their pecs up. And because it's guys, obviously they're not censoring anything. So
That was
It's very
almost my
well
choice,
drawn.
Magical Girl on
Is
it.
yeah.
is this place explained?
No.
Okay.
It
I
is,
love that.
The explanation is not required. And look, so if you're on my anime list, there is a reviewer called Fairy Ghost. Fairy Ghost seems to do a lot of reviews of BL series and so on. And I highly recommend reading their reviews because they're quite informative. But as they say, with Thigh High, Reiwa Hanamura Academy, what you see is exactly what you get. The manga delivers on its premise of high school boys who dress and act like high school girls. It's short, silly, and entertaining, never pushes itself further than that. It has no overarching narrative to speak of. Each chapter is typically a standalone story that revolves around a specific character or gag. The jokes are at their best when they parody or critique some aspect of femininity. The male characters are often used to draw attention to the absurdity of gender roles in a playful, comedic way. And most of the time, however, the wacky scenarios are just thinly veiled excuses for the characters to strip down to their underwear. The fan service may be part of the appeal for some people, but it can be gratuitous and voyeuristic in a way that may be off-putting to some older readers.
Maybe off-putting to some older readers.
Yeah, so like old people who don't like gay.
Tut, tut, tut.
Look, the series does kind of... It's not specifically BL as a tag, but it's bored. So, like, you know how, like, there's the whole, like, in a harem anime, the whole idea of the girls being into each other as well? It's that, but boys. So, you know, they're not going to do it, but they get put in awkward situations, like one falling on top of the other and the... It's so good.
Do they have, like, teachers or professors who are, like, ladies in men's outfits? Or
I can't remember. I do think I think there is a teacher who's like a really like skinny non-buff guy, but he's got like a really long skirt. Like, yeah, it's like, you know, classic. But yeah, look, it
sounds hilarious.
It's brilliant. It's so fun. Highly can recommend it. There are 3 volumes out. It's finished. It ran from 2019 to 2020, so it was a weekly series. And look, it's... Yeah, if you're looking for a good laugh, this is it. This is it. All right. It's time for the headline act of this episode.
Bring it out.
Are we...
Whip it out.
Whip it out. We are talking about Hachi Nin no Sensei, known as Dick Fight Island.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's why we're here.
It's not like every single one of us suggested this. The tournament to choose the next king of the islands is about to begin. The rules are simple. Whoever comes first loses. Participating warriors protect their mighty swords with armor that grows larger and more elaborate with each tournament. But one warrior has returned from studying abroad with a technique certain to force a pleasurable eruption. Is there a competitor alive able to withstand it, or is it the deaf warrior destined to become king?
I just love their explanation of, like, the secret technique. It's just so great.
The funny thing about this, though, is that the direct translation of the Japanese title is just 8 warriors, but in English we decided to call it Dick Fight Island.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 8 warriors.
But if you were going to catch somebody's eye with a title, it's not going to be 8 warriors.
But I was saying, I think the other day or something like that, I think it's because it's supposed to be a little bit of a play, like a little bit of a joke, because Hachichi and Ochichin sound the same.
Yeah.
So like 8 and then penis.
Yeah.
penis warriors.
Yeah, so...
Okay, but could you imagine that section in Gladiators?
Gladiators, are you ready?
So this was the manga that we wanted to give out at our nightclub event, and it was out of stock. But this time we're getting hold of it now for September, so that we have it there. But look, this is like Emma knew about this years ago, and it sounds like the artist originally was drawing it on Tumblr and then got offered a deal and was asked to draw it properly and officially and have it published. So technically it's ran from 2017 to 2020. It says 2 volumes and 18 chapters. We think that might actually be wrong. We think there might be a 3rd volume as well. But it might just depend on how it's been released and in what sections. And as you said rightly, Aaron, it does, and you said this as well, Kiralee, the way volume 2 ends lines up for a further story to continue. So if that's the case, then maybe it is just that it's currently not being published and it's going to come back and be done more of it.
Okay, so plot-wise, what does it actually mean to be Dick I mean, the king of the island.
Oh, to be king of the island, you just lay back and take care of the island's matters, really.
Well,
All right.
It's not that exciting. The exciting part is being a warrior chosen to fight. It's basically like it's a collaboration of islands or tribes, rather.
Yeah, the Pula Yongunda, a fictional archipelago made of 8 islands.
Yeah. And so each of the little islands selects one warrior to represent them to decide who becomes the king of the archipelago.
And that tournament is called the Great Worm Tournament.
There are all of the different,
yeah,
And yeah, they get different
all of the
arms
different
yeah.
to suit their different fighting styles
Yeah.
based on which island they're from.
I mean,
and all
that
of the
looks...
different names and stuff. All there.
I love the character
so-
introduction is just crotch shots.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're there for, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess
Oh
so.
yeah.
Why are you looking at their face? Their face isn't doing the fighting.
It's
not
literally called
Face
Dick
Fight
Fight
Island.
Island.
But it's not. See, also here, like the manga says the original run was 2021 as well. So like,
Yeah.
it's all over the place.
There's been some like really, I don't know, like everywhere says something different about
Yeah.
it, so it's kind of an odd one.
Maybe the
Yeah.
author has just spread conflicting information just to drive people insane.
I would do that.
Me too.
As
yes.
an author, I would do that. I'd be like,
You are
yeah, there's
chaotic,
like
yeah.
a secret ending in one book that I released.
Yeah, there was a Tumblr post about that years ago of a guy saying that I'm going to release a book and I'm going to like write 12 different endings. No, I'm going to write 10 different endings and then tell everyone there's 13. And they're going to have increasing rarity.
God. So this series, all right, we're going to go full R here. The champions face each other in a series of one-on-one fights, the winner being the person who can make the other orgasm first. Thus, the champions go into their fights with armor designed for the manhood, growing larger and more elaborate by the year. However, in keeping with local customs, the men wear cloths displaying the buttocks, this being considered a proud statement of manliness. The story's central character is Hato, a member of the Jewel tribe who's been studying abroad for 4 years, has returned to take part of the tournament and has earned a secret trick that he hopes will allow him to win the
So
tournament.
is his secret technique just the Hitachi magic wand?
No.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Hato's boyfriend, Matthew,
It's the
follows
old
him.
Japanese game, you know?
I love that.
Seniguroshi.
Yeah.
1,000 years of death.
1,000 years of pain. Jealous of the fact that... So... Hato's boyfriend Matthew follows him to the islands, jealous of the fact that Hato is being touched by other men.
But that's actually a really sweet side story
Yeah.
of it. Like, because he, like, when they start living together, he's like, oh, I can't be in a relationship because it would be unfair on you. And then he's like, no, I accept it, rah, rah. And it's really cute watching it grow.
Well, it says the second volume explores the events following the tournament and the relationship that blossoms as a result. Relationships, plural.
Yes. They all kind of fall in
Hook
love
up.
with each other.
No.
Because obviously, they just made each other nut.
Yup.
So, like,
So, this
brain
can be found
chemicals.
at all good book publishers.
gimmicks.
Yeah, literally though.
So, Dimmicks, one of the largest book publishers in Australia, has it.
It's wrapped for safety.
Do you know what was? Do you know what was
So's
not
the
wrapped?
tournament.
You know they used to sell Aramanga Sensei. That was not wrapped at all.
No, but it was that old school, we don't think the, cartoons and comics are for kids only. And it's
Yeah,
like,
how
man,
do you think I
have-
ended up the way I am?
Yeah.
Dimmicks has like a whole BL section.
This is true though. Yeah, some.
They've all got this at
Oh,
the top.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but like
I've
some
never seen them, like,
gimmicks, they'll
separate
have.
it.
Sometimes they'll have, the
all
like
together.
little spinny, I guess,
I mean, I saw
bookshelf
them
thingy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that would just all be BL.
Waterstones in the UK have BL.
I miss Waterstones.
I miss Waterstones. They actually have, because they have a blog, Waterstones, they have a blog about the best BL manga that they have.
Love it.
And they have links to it. So My Love Mix Up, Dakobo Sugar Days, Given,
Is I
Classmates.
Order on there?
No.
I like
There is
Jealousy.
a lot.
Jealousy.
Yeah, very BL.
I like the Yakuza vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one that gets a film? No,
don't
there's
think
another.
so,
Maybe
no.
it's the other one. So there's a BL
Yeah,
film
see-
that's come out where it's a Yakuza and his bodyguard.
Oh.
It came out last year, I think it was. It was
Is-
apparently quite violent and quite raunchy.
That's the one with Samuel L.
What was it
Jackson.
called?
BL.
I mean, there's a lot of BL we could mention, but probably shouldn't as well.
Yeah. Is it that picture of Jason Momoa with his bodyguards? And they're like two tiny men in front of him?
I'd watch a movie about them.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's called Fast 10.
Your seatbelts?
Yes.
I think
Jason
it's called
Momoa is
Never
in
Let
it
Me
and-
Go.
Oh.
It's a Thai BL, which then...
Oh.
Oh, man, there are live-action BLs.
Yes, yeah,
There is
that's a very
lot.
popular thing in Thailand and just Southeast Asia as well. Is their BLs are all like live action.
That seems
Yeah.
more like corn. You know?
Corn.
You know?
Yeah.
The
Except
orange and
they
black
just
kind.
kind of.
Yeah.
Never Let Me Go anime. Yeah.
Oh, Kenny, we're thinking of the Hitman's Bodyguard.
Oh, right, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Never
That's,
Let
that's Samuel
Me Go
L. Jackson and
is-
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
That's the one?
I think that's the one.
Okay.
It might be. It's a...
All right, this is fascinating. Listen.
Great content.
Yes.
It's a drama it's the K-drama, my drama list. It's owned by my anime list.
Yes, yeah, and they have all the. You didn't. Yeah.
So Ryan Reynolds would make a great BL because of the amount of guys who say they're into him, even though they're straight.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
I think it's because of the whole Women's Day thing.
maybe
You know, in
like,
Deadpool.
I think a lot of guys are saying it for the sake of saying it.
Probably.
Because like, don't get me wrong, he's an attractive dude, but he's not the kind of dude that's attractive enough.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's more like a
I
ladies
do
thing because of
Ryan
family.
Reynolds as Deadpool, but as Ryan Reynolds, maybe not.
Yeah,
Like his character's personality in Deadpool, like in especially the first
I was
one, all
gonna
the
say the
different
first
things
one's
that
a
he's
bit
like
better.
really, you
Yeah.
know, into. Like, yeah, sure. But Ryan Reynolds IRL, I feel like there's something about him that's not quite.
there's something that's like
He's
there's a
too
screw loose.
soft.
I don't know. I think it's because it's the whole.
I don't know.
For me, I would because the whole family thing. You know,
Yeah,
he's very
he's
family
great
man.
with his
It's about
like
family.
family and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
family man.
But
Fair enough. I don't rate Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
in
He's
that
not for me
sense.
either.
Man, he's not a man's man. He's a cool guy. You'd be friends with him, sort of thing. But I don't know about the relationships.
Kyle needs more muscle.
Yes.
I would, even though he is like totally opposed to it, I would Chris Pratt.
really?
Yes.
Is it
Really?
because he's totally opposed to it?
That's a different type of BL. We said we weren't talking about controversies.
I like if you see his early stuff, like with
I mean,
Parks and
yes,
Recs,
yeah,
and, like,
but I feel like Chris Pratt now
is completely different
yeah.
from who he was then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's unfortunately gone down a heavily religious route and like.
I mean, look, and if that's your background, look, we respect your background, respect our lack of.
He's a little bit. He would not approve of this BL discussion.
he would not. He'd say he does, but
And then he would go to the church that is anti.
and give them money.
Yeah.
Each to their own.
Antonio Banderas.
Oh yeah,
It's the accent.
yeah, like.
I'm telling you about
And he's got the whole Silver Fox thing going on. lately
Yeah, I was
as
gonna
well,
say it'd be like a well-aged cigar, like a. Oh, you feel classy.
That
You feel
the
close.
actor who plays Phantom of the Opera, the Phantom. What's his?
Oh,
movie
Gerard
guy?
Butler.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
Pierce
sorry,
Brosnan.
It's just
Yeah, but it's the
Gerard
roughness.
Butler can't sing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, you know.
Like young Pierce
But I mean, like, not like him as
a lot of people
person.
say that,
Okay.
like young Pierce
Fair enough.
Brosnan.
Younger Kevin Kline. No one knows who I'm talking about, right?
No, I do. I do because I'm old.
This is just us talking about our preferences for dudes now.
I mean, how about Pedro Pascal, considering he's the most talked about at the moment?
Pedro Pascal's
thoughts?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy.
I think he's aged very well. I
He
feel like
has.
younger Pedro Pascal looks like weirdly too young.
Yeah.
Even like in his 20s
See,
and
like-
stuff. I'm like, that doesn't look right.
And this is probably
Sorry,
more
Pedro.
because of my musical interest, but I rate Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
He looks strange without a beard.
He
I gotta
does. He
say.
does.
I don't think it's like a man crush, but not like like a romantic. Just like I want him to be my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dirty Henry Cavill.
Yes.
Yes.
I think everyone can agree on that.
Everyone
Yes.
can agree on him.
We all thirst for the one true king of nerds.
It's like, okay, Superman Henry Cavill? Nah.
No.
Witcher?
Dirty
Witcher
Witcher
Henry
Henry Cavill.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where it's
All the
at.
way.
That's where it's at.
Superman Henry Cavill, when you see him with the facial hair.
With a CG moustache.
I'm talking Man of Steel, not whatever the hell's that was.
I mean, like,
Justice
he looks
League.
like the
Yeah.
perfect Superman. I just would not do Superman.
Yeah, no, I'm with you
yeah.
there.
No, look, it's a real shame about how he's been treated by. Yeah,
He got shafted by everyone.
he did.
Yeah.
And not in the fun way.
No,
Why is that?
we don't know.
Basically because the people
mix of
writing
things.
The Witcher hate The Witcher and just wanted to write their own stuff.
Yeah.
And then when given the chance to, they made Witcher Blood Origin, one of the worst period TV shows ever made.
But basically, Henry Cavill did say in season 2 when they were filming that he had to correct them on a lot of things, and he told them like, "Look,
And
you guys,
then-
if you don't really like fix the issues that you have here, I will eventually leave." And then they did season 3, and which hasn't come out yet, but he's filmed season 3 with them and had the same discussion again. They didn't want to change anything. They like kept making these. They changed the story too far away from the original, basically.
Right.
And he decided to leave because his contract basically would allow him to leave at that point. So
I've actually just started playing Witcher 3 at last. I finally got around to it, and yeah, I can actually see everything from Cavill's point of view on it. This story and the way the world is just written and shown is beautiful. It
Especially,
feels
he's a big
alive.
fan of the books as well, and just
Oh,
the
the
way
books,
that
yeah.
the author is kind of like mistreated because he's not an English. It wasn't originally an English book, and he wasn't originally an
Yeah.
English speaking author.
I've
either,
read
so, like,
segments of translations
Yeah.
of the books, and yeah, they read very differently to both. Well, everything reads differently to the TV show, but also to the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're different
It's
stories.
it's like
Yeah.
like
But
a little bit before the game started.
They're sort of. It's sort of like hearing the same story from a different person.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I can't say that I like one more than the other, but I really do like them both, and the series can die in a fire.
It's just
Well, the
unfortunate because
first
it started
season-
well.
First
It's-
season was
yeah.
fantastic.
Well, my
I'll say
problem
it was
with it was
okay.
it was non-linear.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
That
a lot of
was
people's
very
problem.
confusing.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
But like season 2 when it was linear, that was great. Like
Yeah.
that was a nice
I
smooth.
did not like season 2.
That's fair.
Yeah, I struggled
was-
to get into season
It
2.
was
feel
out of
like
character for everyone involved.
I feel like season 3 is going to be very Siri heavy.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because they're
I mean,
also
yeah,
trying to
obvious
remove
reasons.
Henry Cavill from
Yeah.
it too. So
I don't care. I will not be watching.
Well,
it.
they've cast Liam Hemsworth.
I know.
Yeah, which is so weird.
I feel like it could have worked if they just said they were going to go down the route of another Witcher
Yeah.
instead, but he's
And
literally
then
playing Geralt.
It's also that, he left Witcher and was told,
This is
look,
now a Henry Cavill podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how long have we been talking about Henry Cavill now? We started with Dick Fight Island, and now we're on Henry Cavill.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see the connection
I would like to cast Henry Cavill in Dick Fire.
as all the
Oh
characters.
my god. No. Henry Cavill,
Jason
Pedro
Momoa.
Pascal,
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. Well, especially since he's an Islander.
Yeah, that's true.
I've heard that Jason Momoa is horrible. in person.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I've met Jason Momoa.
Yeah, this is from people who've met him at like conventions, and he just treated the people who were assisting him absolutely awful.
I've met
Really?
Jason Momoa, and he was lovely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear all these things.
Is this like
it's
after
hard to
Aquaman
know.
or something? Because like I met him before that, right? And
Yeah,
he
I-
was a very, very lovely person,
I
nice to
think
everyone.
it might be
but-
like after the Hollywood explosion.
stuff like this is why I kind of try to fall back on Rule of Acquisition 99. Hear all, trust nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this
mean-
is the thing. Like, I've had friends who've had fantastic experiences with him, and then friends who said they had absolutely awful experiences with him.
It could just be catching him on a bad day.
Exactly.
He's
Maybe,
human
yeah.
after all.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, it's kind of also like if you're at an event and you're being paid to be there and you're being paid to be nice to it, I think there is an argument to be made that as your role, like if you're not in the headspace, it should be upon yourself to say, I need to push back my meet and greet. I need a moment to make sure I'm the best to present myself the best way possible.
They might not be able to contractually.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, that's a good point because it was a supernova.
Yeah.
And
It could just be that, maybe the way that they treated him at Supernova as well, and then he was just like got upset at everyone working there and stuff because of a few people that were higher up and not realize, I guess, the difference between the higher ups and the volunteers.
I guess we can really only
that could be
speculate.
very likely as well.
yeah, it could be. Look, if you, actually, here's a thought to all the listeners: if you've actually met Jason Momoa, let us know your experience in the comments.
Let me tell you my Jason Momoa story.
Please tell us your Jason Momoa story.
On this anime podcast where we're talking about BL and Yaoi, tell us your Jason Momoa story.
And is it gay?
No.
I hope so.
I met Jason Momoa at Oz Comic Con. I was 13. I was dressed as Daenerys. It was the first cosplay I made by myself without help from my mother. And I was the only person dressed as Daenerys because it was like right when Game of Thrones kind of started as a series and he was still in the series.
Yeah.
And I met him. And he was very lovely. His photos, I think it was only like $30 or $40 to get a photo with him.
Wow.
And I was in the line and I was like at the front of the line, he took a photo with someone else. And then he like looks at me and he goes, "My wife!" And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm bright red in the photo. It's like hilarious. But so I'm like, hi. And like go up to him, this like awkward little child who is half the size of him. He's like so tall.
He's a giant.
He's a giant. And then he's like, he goes to lift me up. And then he's like, "Wait, is it okay if I pick you up?" And I was like, yeah, that's
Wow,
fine.
okay.
And he picks me up and we get a photo together. He's like holding me. And it was like, bridal style. And it's like, wait, let me find a photo. Let me find the photo. Because it was like a print and everything.
And
he was really nice.
I met Christopher Judge, but it was nothing like that.
I mean, he does give really nice hugs.
Yeah,
Like,
he is big dad man.
You look so different. Were you tanned?
Well, yes, I just don't go outside anymore.
The life of a Twitch streamer.
But yeah, like we're the same skin tone.
Someone who treats children that way.
And he
I
just made sure
can't
I was okay
see.
afterwards and like was like just made sure I was okay being lifted as well and all that kind of stuff.
So
and he was just a
that to
sweetheart.
me suggests it was environment.
Maybe he's like Gordon Ramsay. Maybe he's like he
Gordon
treats
Ramsay.
children with all the kind of warmth and sincerity they deserve and calls everyone else a donkey.
I had a really
my
terrible
swamp.
wig as well. Like
What
the wig
are
was
you?
like
An idiot sandwich. That's right.
Somebody wants to.
Can we get Gordon Ramsay in a live action Shrek?
A live action Shrek.
interesting.
We have completely gone off.
I actually had a friend who in the UK worked in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen.
Oh really?
Yeah. It was, I can't remember, it was something in London. It was like, would have been 15 years ago she worked there. Apparently he was a delight to work with. He just didn't accept incompetence.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
well, that's
fair,
fair
yes,
enough.
yeah.
You always get that on his show. He's always so nice and chummy with the wait staff because he knows that they have to deal with such horrifying stuff.
You watch the UK version of his shows compared to the US. UK, he's a lot more kind and welcoming. But because in US, they need controversies, because US TV needs all those controversies in order to keep ratings, he has to do it, like, he has to put it on. Like, he actively has to be extra aggressive, whereas in the UK one, he will actually, like, stop and offer chef's advice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does in the US one as well, which is what I noticed. Gordon Ramsay still. But it's when they refuse to listen. And there was one where there was a diner.
Yeah.
And he
There's
came
a lot
in
of
and he
them.
gave them a lot of advice. And the owner was like, "No, I know better." All the staff are like, "Are you kidding me?" And then so he comes back for like the 3 month later on visit, and it's gotten worse. All the staff who were good have left, and he's just like, "You failed as a business, and people are going to see this, and they're going to not come because they know how bad you are and how you treat your staff." And no joke, 6 months after the episode was out, they went under.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, that checks out. Like, But, you know, that's just the way it is. All right, so,
Anime.
anime.
Manga.
We have
Dicks.
talked about the controversy of BL. We've talked about Given, Banana Fish, Sasaki and Miyano, Gravitation, Loveless, Killing, Stalking, briefly. Excuse me. I'm being harassed by the sexiest man of the year. Hello, Kenny and Aaron. You share the title this year. Bad Boys, Good Home, Thigh High, and the epitome of BL madness that has taken the world by storm.
Dick Fight Island.
We've also talked about the Ukesemu paddles.
Yeah, don't do that to people. Consent is very important.
We've got to do like a deep dive on ancient convention history sometime.
That should be a
fun.
special.
We should.
Yeah, we should do that as a special. Cool. That covers it. The names of these series will be in the description of the episode and, of course, on the YouTube video as well. If you want to check them out, we obviously have to, as with the rest of the show, say that there are some content warnings for some of these as well. So obviously have a look into it before you watch it. Check the age rating.
Ask your mother before watching Dick Fight Island.
Time.
They
In
do.
a lot
And a
of
few
these.
triggers as well.
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
a few triggers as well. So with that, we get to finally talk about what's been making anime news.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Tonight on Anime Communique.
Great story, compelling and rich.
Nothing brings ratings up like a little controversy.
All right.
I was just thinking, what actually makes the news? What generates it?
Well, me.
Me.
Us. Actually,
Us.
most of the people at this table worked in media at one point.
No, I just go out into the world and I make the news happen. Everything that you see on television.
No.
It's me.
You just find
It is
the-
all according to my
the new
designs. I'm
things.
trying to make the perfect timeline.
Okay. Anyway, moving right
You're
along.
failing so
There-
bad.
so
I'm really bad at it.
So,
Look, someone just gave me this job. It's the worst thing ever. Stop. New anime.
new anime, please. So let's go back to. We're going to start talking about the Nier Automata anime because it was delayed due to COVID at episode 3. Episode 4 has got a release date. It's returning February 18th after the delay. So that means they are going to go episode 1, 2, 3, then re-air episode 1, 2, 3, and then episode 4 will come out.
Okay.
So that should be week 7 of the anime broadcast season, yeah. We don't know if that means that the series will be 3 episodes shorter or if it will continue into the next season because obviously time slots is a question. So they've obviously cited COVID-19 as the impact on the schedule it's actually really good and worth checking out. We actually don't know how long this is going to be, Nia. It still hasn't got a length listed, which is weird.
I've got the honest feeling it's going to be 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
To
said that
line
last
up with the
time.
with the amount of endings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that as well, but we will see. On the note of new anime projects, Lycoris Recoil has announced it's getting a new animation project as well. Their story has not ended was a tagline on the announcement when they did a event on Saturday, and it was kind of like the first official cafe. Well, the announcement originally came from Lycoris Recoil Cafe presents After Party. Tomorrow is another day event. Like, oh my god, guys, less words.
More words.
So that was a physical event in Japan where they had guests and people from the show and whatnot talking about it. So the new animation project has been greenlit. It hasn't confirmed if it is a film or if it is a series. We're hoping for the latter, of course. If you missed Lycoris Recoil, it looks like cute girls in a cafe doing cute things. It is not. They are assassins and they're taking out problems within the world. It's really worth checking out. All right, this is the big one. This is huge. This is like just so big, I can't believe no one's talking about this. Bottom tier character Tomazaki is getting a second season.
Yeah, I saw an
Yeah, that's
episode
all
of
right.
that.
Yeah, I think I saw an episode at some stage.
I like Moopy.
Look, it's a fun series, but it's also just like a little bit. It's not for everyone.
Super
at all.
Smash Bros. Is overrated.
What? Why are you saying that?
Isn't that what the show's about?
No, yeah, it's literally a series about a guy who's like a massive gamer, and he's got another gamer who's always challenging him, and it turns out that other gamer is the most popular girl in school, but she also is like him. She's jaded and dark, but she puts on a face for school
And
sort of
teaches
thing.
him how to do
how
it
to do the
also.
same.
I think I watched this.
Yeah,
Oh, teaches
blue-haired
him how
girl
to
who was
mask.
kind of a little bit dumb.
Yeah.
It was quite good, and I think especially for people who do have trouble with conversations and all that, it does give a lot of useful suggestions, actually, like for those who have social anxiety and whatnot. But second season, that is April. Now, onto the real thing I was actually talking about. Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village Arc. The first special episode is screening in North American theaters on March 3rd. It has a advanced screening red carpet event in LA on February 18th.
Gosh,
Wow.
really?
Yep.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's very sick. Tickets are on sale now. So this is a 4K remastered screening, which includes episode 10 and 11, so the last 2 episodes of the Entertainment District arc, as well as the first Swordsmith Village arc episode, which is the feature-length 1 hour. It is sold out advanced screening red carpet event at the Orpheum Theatre in LA. And that is going to feature the appearance of voice actors and along with tons of people from it. And theme song performer Ama. So, yeah, like...
Instead of a red carpet, can they just get like a long carpet that matches Darky's?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes, her
that'd
OB.
be so
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
Or it's just made of the red flowers.
I'll just bring mine.
Yeah. Just
Just unravel it.
Hey, what up?
You mean the Wisterias?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then Darky can't come in.
The thing is that this Swordsmith Village event is part of To the Swordsmith Village World Tour, a 2-day event in Tokyo, followed by special events in LA, Paris, Berlin, Mexico City, Seoul, Taipei, and more. And Ama is performing in LA as part of the tour.
That's so cool.
Dang.
So, like, this is going to be huge.
I'm so keen to see Mitsuri.
I'm really interested
I would like
to
see more of her, like, actually, like, develop in this story. I think it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
I love me buff pink lady.
I mean,
So what's
yes.
her sword's little ability? Because
It's a whip.
Yeah, it's a whip.
Wicked.
She is the Love Hashira. And it's a combination of fire and...
Just her self-passion.
Yeah,
strength.
it's like... So you've got, like, the fire... There were 5 elements. And then there are sub-elements within those elements, and love is underneath the fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a
Because
individual...
she actually learned from Rangiku, the fire Hashira, but she couldn't quite get fire until she had to like go protect like a kid and their mother, and then all of a sudden she was really good at what she was doing. So she...
Passion fuels the fire.
Yeah. Which is a very cool way to do it.
You can actually find out more about that in the side story, Flame and Water.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's kind of cool. That's cool. I didn't realize there were side stories to it.
Yes, there are, and they're good.
They're actually good.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not just cash grabs.
Because the Flame and Water one covers the story of the Water Hashira, Gyu, and then also Rengoku.
And Goku.
There's too many characters with similar names.
Yeah, you're getting your...
Bleach. And,
All right. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, we did touch on briefly, but Crunchyroll Expo. So Crunchyroll's not having a good year. Yes, Aaron's giggling. Okay, yeah, it's not having a good few years. Crunchyroll Expo has hit pause on this year's event. And this is all international, including Crunchyroll Australia, is our understanding. So they revealed on Thursday it's hitting pause on this year's event. The company stated it's decided to focus on attending a growing roster of expos and festivals around the world. They did not reveal when the event will return. This year's event was already scheduled for August 4th to 6th, and they've cancelled it. So that's going to annoy a lot of people.
Are they refunding?
I don't think tickets have been sold. I think the issue is that people have already started creating their cosplays for it,
And
for the
people
competition.
already started like booking hotels,
Yeah.
flights, things like that. Because if you do all of that earlier, then
Yeah,
it's a lot cheaper and stuff like that. So
Now,
are you looking at PAX soon as well?
I don't know if I'm gonna go.
Okay.
It's dependent on a few things.
oh my
so.
god, it's already the next year and PAX is coming up.
They've announced the dates
Yeah.
for it.
No, it's
I've
still
taken the
2020.
dates
of
off.
October?
I've taken the dates off. Yeah, 6th to the 8th. Yeah.
Oh, I can't do October. I'll be in New Zealand.
Haha.
No, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna hop it.
I mean, it's pretty close. So it depends when in October you're going. You just hop over to.
Yeah, you could just like do one stopover for a couple days and then
Yeah.
go
Could do. Last year's Crunchyroll Expo took place as a virtual and in-person hybrid event. Customers who rolled over their tickets from 2020 could use their tickets at last year's event, and it did cancel its 2021 event in order to emphasize the health of attendees, staff, exhibitors. Fair enough. So they did a free virtual event in 2021. Now, this is the point where we need to talk about what happened here in Australia, because Crunchyroll Expo Australia was a dumpster fire.
Putting it nicely.
Specifically, the first day was like the worst. The first day was the worst. So much so that even the guests that attended were making jokes about it and talking about it. And we're a bit like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Like, obviously the guests don't have any control over it, but they felt really bad. They were like, oh my God. Like,
So for those who aren't in Australia, what happened with Crunchyroll Expo Australia is that they completely were underprepared and they had lines out the door because of capacity restrictions and they couldn't get people in.
Well, there were multiple rumors about why they couldn't get
there
people
was
in.
there was like a mix of different things. The first thing mainly being that there was also an event happening next door. Like, I understand that they might not book out the whole convention center, but it was literally right next door, and it was a national gymnastics event that was happening at the same time. So obviously all those people had like pushed their kind of like, I guess, marshalling, where they like put all their bags and stuff over like outside in the area where like the outside indoor area that isn't in the convention in that area, so people couldn't line up there. That was like obviously a main issue, and it's raining outside and people couldn't line up because all the gymnasts had all their stuff there, right? No one thought about it. Like, this could have been very easily resolved. People could have been able to wait in line inside, which was one of the main issues as well. And then the other issue obviously is people couldn't get in, and they oversold tickets because they're double the like weekend passes and the one-day passes didn't count together. So that was like, I think that's where the error in the numbers came from.
Yeah, that checks out. That checks out.
But I think Crunchyroll never really
They never put out a statement about it, so
They
have no idea.
They put out a statement
100%.
saying they were going to refund certain people, and then they removed the website with that statement and the way you could actually get the refund.
Yes, because they said
within a
that
month.
They said that if you didn't,
if your ticket didn't get scanned,
then you'd automatically get a refund, is what they said. And then a lot of people didn't get refunds and then didn't know how to contact them.
And then there were people who were instructed to go just scan tickets, even though they weren't inside, just to go scan tickets so they didn't make too much of a loss.
And those people like had like such a issue trying to get their money back and stuff as well. So.
It's a bunch of silly sausages.
It's a shipwreck.
Wow.
So I'd be very surprised if we see Crunchyroll Expo Australia return underneath the same team. I wouldn't be surprised if they outsource it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come back for like another 5 years or so. Like,
they're gonna want to like sweep it all under the rug. They're gonna want
and
nobody
like just
to remember
restart.
it.
Just restart.
It's the corporate way. Whenever you screw up, just
change the branding.
Change the branding and wait for people to forget.
Yeah, they'll really need to change the branding here.
Yeah, they're going to have to switch to Funimation Con.
Yeah, people will remember. People, like, we don't have very many cons here, like, especially big ones, and Crunchyroll's a big name, so...
Yeah. And, like, just as well, like, our dealings with them over the past year for, like,
It is so hard to contact them.
They're impossible to get hold of.
Even when you're there at the event.
Yeah. even when you've got a phone number and a direct email, they just don't respond. And like half the people who are part of that PR team that we used to have to go through are gone.
Yeah.
Like this is an external company, and all of them went to another marketing agency because they're just like.
It's like I was there at the event on the phone with them, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll get back to you. I'm here. Let me do my interviews."
Oh, God. So yeah, look, it wasn't great. If you are going to go to a convention on the east coast of Australia, go to Smash.
Oh yeah.
And Smash are our friends at Hoshi now.
Smash are the people there are very lovely. The volunteers are very lovely. It's very well organized. The way they do the lines is so well organized, and they go through. It's very similar to PAX. The way they line up inside and stuff like that, and then the way they put everyone through, including for every single panel. Is very well done.
Yeah.
They're lovely people.
They are. They're so good to deal with. Because, we've been talking to them with HoshiCon about being friends. And we're now sharing their stuff and they're sharing our stuff. It's really cute. It's like friendship.
Notice me, senpai.
Exactly.
And the
Well,
way they
legitimately.
treat their cosplayers is so
Oh,
nice.
so
Yeah,
respectful.
I agree.
That's
Yeah.
great. But yeah, so look, that's the unfortunate fate of Crunchyroll. They're making a lot of missteps at the moment. Maybe we'll see that improve in the coming years, but I'm not going to really hold my breath at this point.
Even online,
No,
they're
hold
like
your
dropping
breath
it.
for years.
Yeah.
Like they, you know,
Yeah.
with this,
Yeah,
they're
the
saying
Crunchyroll
that
Australia.
they've cancelled it because they want to focus on going to other people's conventions,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, it should be focusing on actually developing your
Your brand
Your
and
site.
presence. and
Yeah.
everything, yeah. But this is the issue, like they're separate departments. And I actually would prefer for them not to be hosting an event and to be an actual presence at other conventions. And this is an issue we've had. They will not booth at a convention here in Perth.
Oh.
They refuse to booth over
Why?
here because they've got their own convention. It's like, yeah, we're not competing. They're different times of the year and they're different states.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So
But
That's
even so, say
idiotic.
take Madman, for example. They had Madman Anime Festival, but Madman would always booth at other
Yep.
conventions as
Yeah.
well. So you can do it. You make a bucket of money, and you can also kind of promote
Yeah.
that you're going to be doing a convention later in the year or something like
Yeah.
that
It's
as
almost
well.
like that's an intelligent business practice.
Oh my goodness.
oh god, who would have thought?
So
Yeah.
not Crunchyroll.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
once again, I don't think it was Crunchyroll who's made this decision. This sounds very much
Yeah.
like a Sony-style decision. Like, this is what Funimation used to do. Like, you never would see Funimation at an event. And, yeah, like, very rarely. You'd see,
gonna
in Australia, you would see Anime Lab Funimation, but that's because they had a local team. Outside of that, like, Funimation didn't do a convention.
No.
There was never a FunnyCon. And like I've never seen them pictured at convention photos. Like looking because I follow a lot of the American ones. I've never seen them with a presence there. Seen Crunchyroll at all of them, but never Funimation. So even High Dive has a presence. So like for Crunchyroll not to is wild.
Who the hell is on their PR team? Who is
Imbeciles.
Well, they did like screenings though.
They did screenings,
Yeah.
but they didn't actually go. They just organised it
Yeah.
with the cinema, and
Yeah.
that's a distribution thing.
Right.
So that's like you don't actually have to physically be there, sort of thing, which isn't great. But yeah, look, it's just the way it is at the moment, isn't it? It's not ideal. But look, Crunchyroll, we want to love you. Pull your act together. You're a tasty beverage roll
Sushi.
thing. Like, I don't know why I went
A beverage?
what do we used to call them? The tasty streaming service?
yes.
Yeah. The tastiest of streaming services because they're a Crunchyroll.
Well, like, they did great when they gave us Jujutsu Kaisen to review.
Yeah, and that was before the full changeover happened.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And now we can't do no more movies.
Yeah, the three contacts we have there are gone. So I've got some other contacts now that because I'm trying to
Are
organize
they colored contacts or are they just for sight?
just for sight.
Okay.
Because they haven't been proven they work yet. I've got three other contacts that I've been given as part of my role with Hoshicon with trying to organize a screening. And hopefully one of them ends up being the person we need to contact for future screeners. Because the people who were doing it before aren't there anymore. And yeah, so it's this is part of the issue. Getting hold of them is hard. Getting them to do anything or collaborate is hard. It's actually easier at the moment to go to Crunchyroll US and get them to send you things.
Oh, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
It's bad, and that's not the way it should be.
But I also think the team here in Australia is stretched quite thin as well. I don't think there's enough people working there.
definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
So a lot of things get missed.
like it's under 20 people, including
Yeah.
management here. So like that's not enough to run it
Across the entire country.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
they
it's
like to
really-
hire more people?
They can't afford it.
I won't work for free though.
Yeah. We're not working for free. You will have to pay us living wages.
Yeah.
But we like our anime.
Like, the people there are good people.
Yes,
And
yeah.
like, they are trying,
Yeah.
but just so much is falling through the cracks because they're understaffed. But yeah. Anyway,
Sony, if you are listening, anime is doing better than all American comics and certainly all of their TV. Invest money into it.
Yeah.
Pay
Yeah.
us.
give
us the
stuff.
contract and we will do it.
We will do it and it'll be fun. So that's the anime news for this week, along with our, unrequested opinions on the Crunchyroll situation.
It's a podcast. That's what they get.
And our talk about Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and stuff about anime.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Okay, so I had an idea.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh.
You know how Pedro Pascal's typecast is like a dad who...
Yes, because he has mad daddy energy.
And Henry Cavill is as well with like the
yeah,
series.
somewhat, I guess. Yeah.
Buddy daddies, them, but
I've
we
seen
get...
that, yeah.
But we get, what's his name?
Grogu?
No, the short guy from Game of Thrones.
Danny DeVito?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage is the kid.
Danny DeVito.
Actually, I would pay to see Danny DeVito as the kid.
Papa, Daddy.
Just
Would you like
him
an egg in this
flying
trying
at them.
time? Oh, so look, thank you so much for listening.
This was a long one.
It was. Wow. Oh my God, we're at 2 hours. How? Oh, this is going to be a headache to edit.
You have to edit out all our swears
Well, there's only a few. It's fine. Yeah.
and anatomical mentions.
It's fine. We've got the precursors at the beginning saying that this is not for kids. So the next episode, do we want to do a certain romantic film, which is at the cinemas at the moment?
Yes.
That is quite large.
I haven't seen the series, so I don't think I can watch the movie.
No, I think it would be interesting to see what you have to say about the movie if you haven't seen the series.
We have to
Like,
skip you.
whether or not
You
the
haven't
movie
seen
could
this at
stand
all?
alone or not.
No.
Is it interesting?
I feel
This
like
is
if I
amazing.
said anything negative, Kyle would kick
Yeah,
me
maybe.
off the podcast. Just leave.
Heresy.
No, I've said negative things about shows you've enjoyed, and we're still friends.
He said
Yes,
mine.
but you
people.
control this thing.
You're making me sound like a dictator.
I'm a grunt. I'm only here as your grace.
People are going to get the wrong idea about me again. So look, if you have enjoyed this podcast, yeah.
Our great and powerful leader has once again provided for us.
Make sure you hit subscribe and all
The
that
leader
good
commands
stuff. This was quite a big podcast. There's 5 of us in the studio. Like, we don't normally go this big. It's nice though.
We went big for Dick Fight Island.
All this content has made us big.
Well then.
If you would like to support more of this stupidity, we have a Patreon. $1 a month gets you access to behind-the-scenes content, including the pre-show, which is half an hour to 45 minutes of us talking trash, completely off topic before every episode. This week's was a long one.
Uncensored.
It was like 45 minutes.
45 minutes of hot garbage, which was good fun.
We still need to do the bread one that Kagu
We do
requested.
need to do a bread episode.
Bread.
We need to find a
bread
bakery
episode.
anime
Bread.
and review bread while doing
Pakitate Japan.
What?
That's a baking anime.
Yeah?
You say
Yes.
the bakery thing.
Bread. Oh man, I could go bread.
I could go some bread.
There's a bread
We
cup.
just need to go to Bread Top.
Yeah, that's what I said last
so much
time.
And then we
type
have
of
to
bread
ask
top.
the most important question that you ever had. With a cream
Horn.
horn,
Cream.
which end do you eat from first?
Top.
Side. Like a Kit Kat.
So look, if you'd like to support us, you might have issues, but I can't say this will help, but we'd greatly appreciate it.
Misery loves company.
It'll help us pay for everything that comes into the podcast goes back into the podcast at the moment. We're currently saving up to get the whole team drawn as chibi people for a banner for future and for use where we need it. There is a YouTube channel. Videos are kind of intermittent at the moment just because
Fight us in the comments section.
over there. There is a YouTube version of this video over there. It will not have video. It's just a static image. But if you've got YouTube Premium and you want to use that, do that. We'd be happy for it. I think that's where we'll leave it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And as we love to say on this podcast,
Watch some anime!